Hayden Button Cup, sterling piece of silverware there up for grabs tonight between South Australia and Western Australia. That man Daryl Hart has worked very hard with his South Australian troop. Last season they beat the VFL by 4 points to claim the top notch in the battle for supremacy in state leagues right across Australia. Tonight, Peter German and his boys from Western Australia will be looking to knock off the South Australians. Last season, they played the Queensland state side, beat them by 58 points. But, gee, tonight, you just wonder what might happen under the lights at the Adelaide Oval. Magnificent conditions. And as we said, the trophy up for grabs is with Andrew Rogers, who's our expert tonight. It is a nice piece of silverware.
I've always wanted to do this, Neil. Haven't done it too many times, so it's great to finally get hold of one.
And Glenn Mitchell joining us from Perth, and great to have you on board, Glenn, and it should be a great clash.
It should be a proud history between these two states. They've played 88 times, they've won 44 apiece, but alas, this trophy hasn't been in WA's possession for a dozen years.
Certainly not. In 2003, in fact, the last time they met at Fremantle Oval, it was pretty much nothing short of embarrassing for Western Australia.
Well, luckily I was on a European vacation, and unfortunately at the time I think some of the WA team were on holidays as well, and I know that 10-goal loss on home soil at Fremantle Oval is one of the big motivating points that the coach Peter German has used in the lead-in for this squad. They want to try and replicate that form, if you like, in reverse and inflict some pain here upon the Crow Eaters at home.
Yeah, certainly they were very much hurt by that result, Western Australia. I know the South Australians, were led by Damien Squire, very much enjoyed their victory. If we go back over time, let's have a look how the two states have performed. Interesting, SANFL, VFL, WAFL play in rotation, but only Western Australia has played the Queensland team, which is AFLQ. And as we see, last season they beat them by 58 points.
Yes, they did that pretty well, but this is a different test. South Australia play a very different brand to the AFL in Queensland.
Down now to our boundary riders for tonight, Mark Soderstrom and Michael Maney.
Good evening, everyone. I can tell you it is very fresh here at Adelaide Oval tonight, Michael, isn't it?
No doubt about that, Mark.
Now, South Australia completed their preparations on Wednesday evening, and Port Adelaide Magpie, Johnny Baird, who has been sensational this year at centre-half back, he had to withdraw after training with some neck soreness. Coming into the side is former Crow, Norwood's James Gallagher. So, Michael, good opportunity for him to strut his stuff in state footy. Yeah,
good opportunity for James. Let's hope he can take it with both hands. And the Western Australians pretty relaxed in their session later on in the week, and they'd be still, I think, pretty happy with the way that their preparation had actually been. And despite the fact that they stayed on the tarmac at Western Australia Airport for about 90 minutes, but they finally made it here, and they'll put up a good show tonight. There's no doubt about that.
Well, the South Australians, among them is Timmy Inkster. Now, for those of you who haven't caught last week's game in the SANFL, we've got a highlight for you. Tim Inkster with his hands all wrapped in cotton wool after this one. Have a look at that mark. Timmy Inkster against West Adelaide last week in the last quarter. Got the legs going.
Well, it could be a night for high flyers tonight because perfect conditions, hardly any breeze, no rain around, and let's hope we see a couple of grabs like that tonight.
Yes, we may well see a few grabs like that. Certainly, as you say, good conditions. So does the South Australian team, just about to come onto the ground?
Yes, they are just getting ready with preparations, and they'll be led out by captain for the first time this year, Scotty Borlace, who's been in great touch for Norwood. And he picked up the Foss Williams medal last year playing against Victoria. So he's no stranger to state football. And vice captain will be the 2004 Magarey medalist, Paul Thomas from Central District, who played with Essendon last year in the AFL.
And there's no doubt that South Australia does take state football very seriously.
Oh, absolutely. It probably lapsed probably 10 years ago, and ever since Alan Stewart got involved approximately 10 years ago, they've taken it very seriously, and certainly Daryl Hart's carried it on. They go through a thorough warm-up now. They have many training sessions together. It is very much emphasised to the players. This is the best level that you probably may ever achieve. So you must perform on this stage in front of a big crowd and a big audience.
No doubt about that. They've been together for quite some time, and Michael Maney, the West Australians will just about be ready to come on the ground as well, and it's a cool night and they'll want to warm up properly as well.
Oh, that's right, Neil, and they'll be led out by Anthony Jones, the former Fremantle Docker, who should put up a good performance tonight. It'll be interesting to see how Shane Woden does perform in this particular side. But the laid out for WA is Adam Lang, the former Sturt and Kangaroos player. He is the player that's been omitted from their 23-man squad.
It's interesting, Mark Maguire holding the footy there has got two jumpers on. He's got a sleeveless over a long sleeve, so the 12 degrees here might be a factor. He's also got his ever familiar gloves on, but it's interesting, Michael Maney saying that Anthony Jones leading the team out. It's a strange situation. His Claremont club captain, Jackson Crabb, was the captain of the team that beat Queensland, so he's actually overtaken this year, if you like, his club captain. He's been in terrific form, and he will be a real focal point across the half-forward line tonight.
So you've got some news from the South Australian rooms, bit of an injury problem?
Yeah, we sure have. A late withdrawal youngster, 20-year-old Gavin Hughes from Norwood, is out of the side. Now, the official word from the South Australia camp is that he's suffering the flu, and he pulled out about 5 o'clock this evening. So Glenelg's Adam Fisher got a phone call at work, and he was told to pack his bag and get his bum down here to Adelaide Oval. He gets a chance to play state football tonight. And the coach, Daryl Hartwell, he's pumped up and ready for action.
I think we've picked a very even side. I think we've got a good balance of pace and ball getters, and I think we've just got some really good players. So that's the exciting part of the game coming up.
Now, you had a trip over to WA earlier in the month. Are you confident you know enough about WA?
Oh yeah, look, it's always difficult because it's a bit unknown, but then they wouldn't know some of ours as well, and that's always the great uncertainty of state footy is you've got to adjust on the day, and that's why you've got to have players who are prepared to get the ball.
Obviously, they've talked about in the press that they're going to come out pretty hard. Traditionally, Western Australia's been a quick, fast-running side, but apparently they're talking about they might try to play a little bit more physical against our South Australian side.
And you must be pretty pumped to be given the captaincy.
Yeah, obviously a huge honour and a big milestone for my career, I suppose. And amongst Magarey medalists and premiership players, it is a huge honour.
We talked about their experience. It is a very good lineup, and around about half of them were playing last season against the VFL.
It is a very experienced, tough, hard, uncompromising team. Mackenzie unfortunately having to go back with Baird's injury. Brant Chambers misses out because of suspension, and Nick Gill misses out because of injury. It leaves them a little bit short down the forwards. Howard, a centre half forward, 183 centimetre. Look, it's a big ask of Dean Howard. They may rotate Warren and other players through there just to provide a contest.
And Michael, the West Australians, as you mentioned, they spent a long time on the tarmac, but not the worse for wear as a result.
No, that's right. They seem pretty relaxed, and it's all been a fairly good build-up for the team. And Peter German, he thinks their preparation has been absolutely excellent.
Yeah, it's been a very good lead-up. We've been really pleased with the way. We've actually probably had a 6-week sort of lead-up. It hasn't been too intense over the first 5, but this week has been a lift in intensity and the way we want to go about our footy. And the players have really adapted well to it.
Peter, where do you think you can win the game?
I just think that we've really made sure we've picked a side that can actually play, multitude of sort of positions. We've got guys who can sort of float through the midfield, go forward, go back. Plus, we think we've probably picked a stronger and a quicker side than what we have in previous years.
Oh no, nerves, just excitement, and obviously pretty proud to be bringing the boys out, and hopefully we can bring home the bickies, because it's been a while since we've beaten South Australia over here. Is
there a touch of revenge in it from a few years ago when you really did get walloped?
I don't know if it's revenge, it's more getting that respect back, because South Australia played pretty well that day and really gave us a belting. So if we can just get a bit more respect back and play a better brand of footy, we'll go a long way to winning.
That word respect keeps coming up, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and that's what it's about for Western Australia. Thought Peter German spoke really well then. They have got multi options to go up forward. Bandy can go to centre forward. Jones, looking forward to Jones versus Mackenzie. Wade in the middle. They have plenty of options to run on ball, and that's going to be a key tonight.
Time now for the toss of the coin. Sodas is with the man who will toss the coin, who knows all about state footy, Neil Curley.
Yes, he does. Neil, welcome along to the Adelaide Oval. Now, for a man who wore the South Australia colours with pride for 32 games, it must bring back some vivid memories tonight.
Yes, it certainly does. This ground, of course, we played a lot on this ground. And they were tough matches. It didn't matter if you played Western Australia or Victoria. They were tough games, and they were great games. And, of course, there were a lot more people here in those days, and it's a bit sad to just see so few people here, but I think we should be in for a good game. Studying both sides, I can't pick a winner.
Can't? Well, can you put yourself on the line and come up with one?
Well, South Australia, naturally.
Good on you. And Neil, you mentioned too, some of the games you played here, the ground wasn't in the condition it's in now.
This centre pitch area, we played here one day, there was 12 inches of mud. It was just an absolute bog, and to run through it was just about impossible. But have a look at tonight. Absolutely. If these guys can't play good football tonight, they'll never play it.
All right, Neil, go and do your official duties now. We'll get you to toss the coin. Anthony Jones from Western Australia, of course, and also Scotty Ball-Ace here, ready to toss the coin. Neil Curley, legend, inducted into the Australian Football Hall of Fame in 1997. Just shaking hands there with both the captains. Ready to toss the 20-cent piece. Not a lot of breeze around tonight, so toss has been called by Anthony Jones, and Western Australia have won, and they will kick to the left of screen, the main scoreboard end. As I mentioned, no breeze, so no advantage to either end.
Thanks for that, so does Anthony Jones. Be very happy with his first job as captain.
He's got that right, and let's hope from a West Australian point of view he can catch the ball. He's been in terrific form. He took 14 marks in a recent WAFL game for Claremont, so he will be one of the men that the talented midfield, the likes of Woden, Crabb and Pickett and the likes, will try and go through in their avenue to goal tonight.
Fantastic atmosphere at the Adelaide Oval. You've called plenty of cricket here, but never a game of football.
First time I've been here for a football match. I'm normally used to being high up in the Bradman stand during the summer for Test and One Day national cricket, but any time you come here, day or night, summer or winter, there is something special about the Adelaide Oval. It's one of the most picturesque sporting venues, no matter what the code is anywhere in the world.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with gold and silver and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Well, just a few minutes away from the start of the game now. We won't see, I assume, too much tagging in this game. Is that right? It'll all be just how it pans out between the two sides, Andrew?
I just really think that Jeremy Clayton is one that Western Australia will have to actually address. I don't think you can let him run around like an unregistered job. I think he's going to hurt you.
South Australian coaching bench there. Interesting. I think I saw Michael Maney's going to tell us what's going on with the weather for a start. Michael.
Well, I haven't quite got the drips coming off the nose at the moment. It's around about 12 degrees in Adelaide at the moment, so it's going to be cool, but the players won't mind that. A little bit of dew on the ground, and that'll get a little bit worse as the game goes on, but expecting a wonderful game, and no breeze to speak of, so that's a good thing. I think the players will enjoy the conditions tonight.
They certainly will. The conditions just about perfect once you get warmed up, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Look, it's just a great night. There should be butterflies in the players' stomachs. They should be keen and eager. They're representing their state. And the buzzword around is respect. And that's what it's about for both states. If South Australia get beaten tonight, unfortunately, they go down a cog. For Western Australia, they need to win tonight to put some respect back into their league so that they can perform and attract players and have a really good, healthy competition.
Just about set for a start. Shane Woden, the Brownlow medalist, lining up for WA. Jeremy Clayton just coming in to welcome him to the field of play. We're just about ready for a start. Here's Glenn Mitchell.
Thanks, Neil, and a WA flavour in the South Australian ruck tonight too. Craig Parry, who has rucked in the past for Subiaco in the WAFL, is up against Talon Ames, leading the ruck somewhat surprisingly ahead of the likes of Newick and Bandy, and this state clash underway here at the Adelaide Oval. Neither ruckman effective at their first tilt of the footy. Gallagher gets a quick hand pass away, and South Australia kicking to the right of screen after Anthony Jones won the toss. And the mark taken out wide here by Campbell, Norwood player.
Here's the problem with a small centre half forward. They really haven't got a tall target to go through at half forward.
Back to Eichner. Eichner gets it on quickly out towards right half forward. That's not a bad pass, and a good sliding mark coming in on that occasion by Warren, and he kicks into the man on the mark. Straight into Aidan Parker, who's had some time over here in the past on the Adelaide rookie list, playing in the SANFL, and a boundary throw-in.
Benny Warren in his first game for South Australia. He missed out last year through injury. And just a mistake with his first touch of the game. Parry perhaps had the better of that, but now the West Australians work it to Woden, down to half forward. Over the back, touching it first with ball. He's got it off to Eichner, he's in trouble. Eichner got the hand pass away eventually over the boundary line. What a start. Siders, you've got the South Australian bench down there.
Yeah, certainly have. Nearest to camera there, Adam Fisher, the late inclusion. Port captain Mark Clayton, Stevie Kenner, and also big Brett O'Hara.
Good to help you out too, Neil. WA with numbers on the front of their jumpers. No reciprocal rights for the visiting commentator as the ball's gone out on the wing.
And Theo Adams is a man that's gone straight to Jeremy Clayton, so he appears to have the job to shut down Clayton tonight.
Interesting, Ames took the centre ruck contest. Now Bandy has done the last couple here on these boundary throw-ins. Parry in front wins it down. Ball ace went without the footy. Armstrong. A hurried kick forward for WA. Almost a clever mark in front. It's been well rowed by Salicic. A high kick towards the goal square. Maguire outnumbered back there. Ames comes in to issue the contest. Socket off the ground then. Wide by Powell for South Australia. Maguire has followed up, and in the end, the ball beats him over the boundary line. You mentioned at the top of our coverage, Maguire there wrapped up for the cool weather, wearing the two Guernseys tonight. Now this time Parry and Ames, as it was at the centre bounce. Leaving the ball behind there was Adams. Opportunity here working in a confined space. Jeremy Clayton gets back the defensive half pass, and the Crow Eaters to clear.
Not for long though. Immediately taken by WA, and Armstrong will put them back inside their forward 50. Loose kick. Maguire came on the lead. It beat him. It'll come to Clayton, and he tries to clear again and almost gave it straight back to Armstrong. Backwell now will pick it up. He's on centre wing. He can go to half forward where Warren was. Warren slipped over, and so WA with a chance to come away through North. Gee, the skills are pretty ordinary at the moment. I don't know if the pressure's all that great. Keevers now, chance to go to the outer side of the ground. Jones overran it, the captain, Anthony Jones. Now it's come to the back. McKenzie works the Sheedy. Sheedy over the top with a hand pass. Wasn't the best, but he'll get the 1-2 and go onto his left foot. Gee, the ground must be a bit slippery because that's Inkster inside 50 with the kick. There's been some poor skills, as I said. And that'll be out of bounds in the forward pocket for South Australia, their first true entry inside their forward line.
Just get the feel both sides are finding each other, finding their feet at the moment. You're right, the skill hasn't been great. Been a lot of nervous young players out there. Both teams have a relatively young list.
Bandy and Parry. Bandy got rid of him, didn't really win it down. Kane Hayes tries to crash through. A hand pass to Bandy, gave it back towards him again. Gets it off towards Bassong, a Simpson medalist against Victoria a few years ago. Kicks out wide to the outer flank. Jones conceding front position. Well done, not quite. Unable to keep the ball in play, McKenzie. Michael Money, who's nice and warm on the WA bench.
Well, they'd like it in there too, Glenn. Shane Barros, Luke Newick, Jackson Crabb and Clancy Rutherford. And boys, it really is slippery down here. I think we need to cut them a bit of slack.
A couple of tough nuts there, Barros and Crabb on the bench first up for Western Australia. Opportunity for Keevers. He takes out Howard. He gets a quick hand pass to Backwell. He couldn't do anything with it. Stripped away by Mark Wegg. Hand pass to Bandy. Sweeps one out wide. Keevers has made a prominent start. Bouncing over the outer wing. In fact, that was Clint Jones. Squaring it towards half forward. Fisted away by Thomas. The little excitement machine. Pickett there. Goes to Maguire. Takes it in the gloved hands. This will be the first legitimate shot on goal from either team 5 minutes in.
It was great play by Alistair Pickett. Went front and centre from the punch. Just led off his leg there, Maguire, and it made it a really difficult quick. We get a look here on replay. Maguire's led down the middle where the actual lead would have been to the pocket. So very high skills by Alistair Pickett.
Maguire's kicked 29 goals, 11 this season for his Waffle Club Swan Districts, and he gets his first in state colours, and just the start that WA needed. Tonight, Andrew, they'll do their best work early if they can try to get the crowd here quiet by getting on top.
Oh, absolutely. Here in South Australia, obviously, we're trying to get the crowd involved with it. If Western Australia can silence the crowd, you put some serious doubts in the South Australians' mind. I like the match-up of Bandy. Once he goes into the middle, he adds an extra ruck rover with his aerobic capacity. He's going to really test Craig Parry.
Well, Ames is testing Parry in the middle, I would have thought as well. He's giving away a few inches.
That's my one up.
And again, well, Parry did well, used his body well, got it to Gowans, taken the ground immediately. In fact, it was Powell under there as Darryl Hart and his coaching staff look on. Still in the very hard centre of the ground, this ball. Ames got the ball down that time. Smothered kick of Armstrong's. In tight, Clayton. Ames did well, got the hand pass wide. Now a fumble. Clayton, gee, he's had a lot of the ball early, hasn't he? Just got it out the back, and now South Australia's created a loose man out wide. It's Borlace. Borlace into half forward with the kick. Inkster, he's on his left foot, he'll want to go. This side of the ground, he's got Backwell, and the other player falling down there was Parry. So Parry looks up inside 50, goes long looking for Shell. Big fly over the top, and the ball out of bounds in the forward pocket for South Australia.
You would think South Australia would hit the top of the square. From here, where you see where the balls end up, it's very wide in the pocket. Very deep pockets here at Adelaide Oval. Very hard to kick goals from. If you're a South Australian, you'd like to see that at the top of the square.
Bandy wins it down. Backwell fighting against the numbers. Armstrong, a quick hand pass to Webb. He gets one out, and then a quick clearing kick by Woden out wide, but it's going to come back in a hurry. Gee, Jeremy Clayton will have leather poisoning. He squares it towards centre half forward, and a good mark. Well, making light of what could be a slippery ball. Howard on the lead. Marks right on the attacking 50. No breeze to speak of here tonight in Adelaide. Still may test him from about 55. He bombs it long. He will carry the line, not quite, through the hands of Shell. He's offline anyway, and the South Australians open up with a behind.
I think Peter German would be having little thoughts about Jeremy Clayton at the moment. He's getting way too much of the footy if you're a Western Australian.
Bandy went wide. Looking for Jones. That's Clint Jones sliding into the ball. 70, 80 metres from the South Australian goal, defensive goal. Jones chipping back inside to Bandy, just able to get it above the ground. Nothing much on, but he just squares it nicely in the end. Hayes quickly down to half forward. Archie leads his man out, punches. Forward it comes, Pickett immediately gathers it. Nice smother coming in there, the desperation from Whiteman. Comes back again to Hayes. He's flanked at the back by Rumble. That ball smothered again. Good pressure from South Australia. They get it forward to Inkster. Whack! Gone! Ball caught in now underneath. And we will get a ball up, will we? Yes, we will at half forward. What a solid bump that was.
Ben Keevers.
And that's exactly what you expect at this level when you fumble. If you're going to fumble under pressure, you're going to get nailed.
WA umpire Greg Bandy restarts play. And Bandy for WA wins it down. Parry doing the roving. Inkster gets it. Hurried left foot kick. It'll land about 40 metres out. The fist in there from Theo Adams. Trying to stand in the tackle back there in defence was Rumble. The umpire says he'll ball it up about 40 metres out from South Australia's goal. I think we've already got the feeling, Andrew, it's going to be a fairly low-scoring affair tonight.
Think of the conditions, and look, the amount of numbers that both coaches have pushed around the footy, it's going to be very difficult to have clean hands in there.
Parry and Bandy. Parry wins it down. Opportunity for Clint Jones. In fact, he leaves it for Woden, the 2000 Brownlow medalist. Kicks wide to the skipper, Anthony Jones. That was almost a throw. It has been paid as a throw. And they need to be careful. Backwell almost giving away 50, running on. But the ball will come back, and Anthony Jones has it. The centre half forward having to lead a long way down the ground. He finds Bandy. Bandy along the boundary line, and the mark taken out there by Kane Hayes. Hayes chips it up. That's an awkward delivery for Mark Webb. Knocked off the top there by South Australia's Eichner. Ends up with Gowans. He kicks it short and turns it over. Kane Hayes taking it on the outer wing.
Hayes slowing things down, looking up towards half forward. Maguire with the lead from full forward. In the end, tried to drop it in short. That was fortuitous. It fell for Salisic. Inside 50, looking for Maguire. Archie comes through. Now it falls for Maguire. Hand pass to Armstrong off the left foot. The snap is wide and just through for the minor score. The margin, 6 points in favour of WA.
It appears early as though neither key forwards are going to have a great effect on the game, and it's going to be the crumbing forwards heavily involved. West Australia certainly look more dangerous so far.
Borlace has played on. He has to go dangerously back towards the centre square. The mark taken in there by Gallagher. Gallagher now has Archie free, just back into the centre circle. He marks and plays on. Kicks with the left boot out towards half forward. In front was Kenner, sport from behind. Opportunity in there for Webb, but he concedes front position to Gowans. Almost into his back was Clint Jones. Jones over the footy, has to tap it out in a hurry. Jeremy Clayton receives the hand pass, kicks inside the attacking 50, and he gets away with the use of the body there. Hayden North marks and plays on. He comes across to Bandy, just over the outstretched hand of Backwell. Hand pass to Woden, to Hayes, who's been busy early. Feigned the hand pass, now with the left boot to the lead of Ames. Taken under the ball, illegally. Archie penalised there. In fact, to Hewitt, it was on the lead, and Hewitt has the free kick. Clint Jones on the boundary line. He's coming off for a breather. Well, this is poor checking, but not a good kick. Mark Webb vacuums on the half volley. Hand passes to Armstrong. Feigns around Gallagher. Squares it up. It'll land about 25 metres out. Jones, strong mark. Well, wasn't well read in flight, the ball coming in on that occasion by the South Australian defence, and Jones has taken the mark directly in front, 25 metres out from goal.
He just kept his eye on the footy there. Mark McKenzie just lost touch with him with his body, and unfortunately Brett O'Hara couldn't get a hand on it. Look, important goals. It looks as though it's going to be a low-scoring night. Western Australia need to make the most of their opportunities, put some real scoreboard pressure on South Australia.
Anthony Jones guides it home. So a dream start for WA. They kicked the opening 2 goals of the game.
It seems as though at the moment the pace of Western Australia is also worrying South Australia. We've seen them very busy around half forward. He's just a missed tackle. Just goes to the top of the square, and we see McKenzie at the back, just gets it body on, then just leads it up to Brett O'Hara. Golden rule in the back line. If your man goes, you've got to go. McKenzie elected to let his former Eagles teammate. And unfortunately, Jones was able to come over the Toka mark. West Australia looked very busy early.
Yeah, boys, Clancy Ruddick has gone onto the ground for WA. Gets a run with roll on a lot of occasions, so you may see him go to Jeremy Clayton. Jones is off, as Glenn said.
And immediately, South Australia concede possession through somebody entering into the square a bit early. So Ames will take the free kick. Left footer drives it long, looking for Maguire, coming out. Archie from the side, punched it. Jones roved it. Open goal. Bounce, bounce, goal.
Centre clearance become all important. South Australia under pressure. Get a mistake where someone goes in the middle and they win it out of the sill. Look, that's the value of Jones there. Hard match-up. Saw him just take a mark. Then he goes front and centre. He's got the athleticism to go front and centre. Great play. Doesn't always need to have a big gun full forward to actually make a contest. They just kicked it long to a 6-footer. Makes a contest. Jones gets front and centre. Very simple, very effective.
Captain leading by example. 2 in the space of as many minutes. Ames in the ruck, this time against O'Hara. Backward, slammed into the ground by Hayden North. Another stalemate, another ball up. Start that WA needed. O'Hara and Ames again. O'Hara knocks it forward. Woden with strength there. Goes to ground though in the end in partnership with Campbell. And another ball up.
And it's achieved its desired effect. The South Australian crowd very, very quiet.
Darryl Hart peering on.
Same again here, boys. Arms up, don't hold.
Give instructions from the umpire to both ruckmen, Ames and O'Hara. Armstrong picks it out of mid-air, but his hand pass has been intercepted, and the long, powerful kick going forward by Sheedy. Over the back, an opportunity for South Australia if they can mount something. Head over the footy. Clayton doing it all at the moment. Snaps on goal. Will he bend it back enough? He doesn't. Misses to the near side. South Australia doubling their tally now, 2 behinds.
That centre break I spoke of, they were able to win it out of the middle, get it forward just to a contest. Jeremy Clayton front and centre.
Jeremy Clayton, busiest player on the ground at 7 possessions.
Western Australia quick to move it to the far side of the ground, and North with the mark. South Australia, you detect getting a few more players around the ball now. Make it a little bit harder for WA to run the ball, although this time they've done all right. Adams down to half forward. Just slips over the back. Thomas with his pace. Salisic gets possession though. The hand pass comes back to Ames, loads it up into that dangerous part 10 metres from, or 20 metres from the goals, off the ground and finally rushed through by South Australia. And it was rushed through by Daniel Schell, who's supposed to be at full forward.
Exactly, his opponent had run down the ground. But great disciplined play by Western Australia. Kick it to the hot spot at all stages. We've seen a couple of times they've been rewarded with a Jones goal. Just unfortunately couldn't get a crumb of them.
Backwell links up with Shell under minimal pressure, runs it up towards centre wing. Kicks then up towards a contest. Bandy in front, brings it to ground. But an opportunity in there for South Australia's Mark Clayton. Kicks it up towards full forward. Back against the flow is Kivas. He's already put some body pressure on. He fell over a ghost that time. Bounces up. Minimal pressure back there by the South Australian forwards. And Woden takes the mark. He then kicks it back to Aidan Parker. Parker now will chip it towards Kivas. To man up a little bit here, Kivas, from just shy of centre half back. Spots out Rudolph, who started the game on the bench. He hand passes to Hayden North, streaming through the middle. Good pick up on the half volley by Hewitt, but he's taken to ground and he pulled the ball back in. Now it jars out free. Hand pass comes out from Sheedy and quick kick forward by Ball-Ace. Off hands, the hand pass comes back towards Woden. Woden out wide, Armstrong is the target. With him Backwell, did well. Fight for it on the ground. Oh, clever play by Armstrong, the former Melbourne Demon on the West Coast Eagles rookie list. His kick touched off the boot. Ames can't keep it inside the field of play, and we'll have a ball in at left full forward for WA.
Very much reactionary footy at the moment by South Australia. West Australia look fluent as they bring the ball out of half back. They're able to run the footy, hit their targets up forward. South Australia, it's real desperation stuff, just under pressure at the moment.
Jackson Crabb, we just saw there, waiting to come onto the ground. Mark Clayton clears the ball. The Claytons have had plenty of it, and he gets it to centre wing and just over the line before North can control the ball properly. See Jackson Crabb about to come on for his first run.
Good start, keep it up.
Great start by Western Australia and lead by 3 goals. O'Hara and Bandy. O'Hara tried to take down Bandy and rather than worry about the ball. Crabb with a fresh air hand pass. And ball will eventually be trapped in there. We'll get another bounce on centre wing.
Thanks, mate.
The West Australians have certainly shown they mean business thus far. WA forward line certainly looks far more open than South Australia's as Mark Clayton gets in there and kick forward, got it to Jeremy Clayton. He broke away into Howard. One grab, slippery ball, got away from him. The song off the ground, down into half forward again. Ames should collect it, does collect it. Salyasic at the front, couldn't take it. Ball still knocked WA's way. Gee, they're doing well. Here's North, got the hand pass out to Ames. Quick kick forward, up in that danger area again. And Corey Archie slams it over the line for South Australia, under siege at the moment.
And they certainly are. West Australia winning all the contested ball at the moment. If there's a contest there, winning it. Just a dangerous kick by Jeremy Clayton just to bring it back into the middle. It certainly opened up the West Australia forward line.
Newick, lovely palm down to Crabb, fresh on the ground. He's been penalised for holding the ball. So a free kick to South Australia at left half back. See the tackle there. Well, he did take them on. He certainly had time to hand pass it away. Meanwhile, Backwell has kicked it about as deep into defence as you can get. How's marked?
There's a blue on, boys.
Little bubble back at centre half back for South Australia.
That's on your line. That's it, thank you.
And they're going to get the free kick at that point. And it's kicked in the end by Eichner towards the outer wing. Well, the hand pass has gone away in a hurry and Hayes is able to steal it. 55 out unguarded. Goal square. Have they got their fourth? No. You see there the dew on the grass. That ball actually slid as it hit the deck. And he's missed to the left-hand side.
Brett O'Hara coming off the ground for South Australia. Coming on is Craig Parry. Will get the chance to ruck against his former Subiaco teammate Luke Newick.
South Australia trying to move the ball quickly now. And they're in trouble and making some bad decisions. That time Gallagher turned it over. Western Australia the other way. Newick, awful kick. McKenzie should pick it up and clear for South Australia. He does to this side of the ground. Gallagher in space. Backwell. Have a look at those boots. Now Ball-Ace in the middle. He's got Archie who's sneaking forward. Big Archie. Good grab. Two-grabber. Gave it off to Clayton. Surrounded straight away. Clayton had to give it up. Back it comes to Gallagher, then wide to Ball-Ace. Gallagher taken down late. Play on, advantage. Warren leads up, and the ball nicely cut off by the WA defenders, working well as a team.
it's a mixture of the West Australian pressure, but also the decision-making of the South Australians on when to give the handball, when to call for the handball. Just need to clean that area up in their game.
Ewick and Parry to contest in the ruck. Australia still looking for their first goal, 21 minutes into the opening term. Chance in there for Jackson Crabb. Shocking kick from the defensive 50. Toted out towards the boundary line. Rudolph is shunted off it. Well done by Mark Clayton. Tackled and upended. Ball still in dispute. Sheedy was in there, so too Gallagher. Gets it along the ground. Clever evasive skills by McKenzie. Feeds it off then towards a teammate who spirals at Ford Sheedy. Good defensive fist in there by Parker. Still Western Australia looking for it. Hayden North, who started the game very well. Hand passes out wide and unable to keep it inside the field of play as Rumble. And will have a boundary throw in. Peter German to his immediate left there. Phil Lamb, the chairman of selectors for Western Australia.
Very happy with their plans thus far. We're into time on in the opening quarter. 21 plays 2. 3-goal, 1 lead for Western Australia. Now Jeremy Clayton off the left leg. It's awkward, but it's in a dangerous position. It's Shell, reaches over the top. Play on, Warren will collect it. Hand pass off to Inkster. He's a left-footer. Tries to square it. Can't. Rumble intercepts. Now the hand pass back to Parker. Takes his time. Gets it wide for Western Australia. And they get out of trouble. And they were in deep trouble for a while. Now Jones cuts back across the centre on this side of the ground, but it was too big a kick. He had a player loose. Now Adams through half forward, he goes with a kick. He looks for Maguire on the lead, traps it well. Those gloved hands working perfectly. Squares it up. South Australia with the numbers. They should be able to take it away. They do. Whiteman sweeps the hand pass wide. And then the kick looking for ball ace, but just off the turf and out of bounds on centre wing, just slightly forward of centre wing for Western Australia.
Mark Webb wanting to come back onto the ground. In the interchange area at the moment, just trying to keep warm. Boundary throw in almost directly in front of us. This magnificent old members stand area. Jackson Crabb over the back. It sounded like it was touched off hands as he kicked it forward. Maguire with strength gets it off his non-preferred right foot. It's dribbling home, and it is a behind. Just grazed the inside of the goalpost. So a lucky let off there for South Australia.
Just causing too many problems up forward. Maguire, see that just, let's have a look at this roll towards the goals. Oh, geez, the padding on the post has certainly saved South Australia there.
Needed the flipper and he ended up with the wrong one.
Whiteman goes for Archie inside the ball ace, through the centre and up towards full forward he goes, long towards Shell, over the back to Warren. Dispossessed quickly. Now Warren will get another chance. Warren off the right foot. South Australia's first coming up, is it? No, another behind. Away to the right from Benny Warren.
Just been starved of opportunities so far, Ben Warren. They really haven't brought the ball forward with any fluency. And he's more of a leading player, a leading target player. And just haven't hit him with a kick so far.
Kane Hayes restarts play. He looks down there for his teammate across half-back, Basong, and he takes the mark on the defensive 50. Basong gives it back to Hayes. Hayes a measured kick, looking for Woden. He conceded front position, but then Campbell, who nipped in front, couldn't take the mark, and it's gone out of play. And going out of play also Woden. Interchanging for Mark Webb. Brownlow medalist, 200 games in the AFL. Before being delisted by his second club, Collingwood. He's been prolific for East Fremantle, averaging over 30 disposals a game this season in the WAFL.
He's had 6 this quarter.
A player of quality. And there's Basong. Roos it over his shoulder, back towards the wing. Courage shown there by Gallagher, couldn't mark it. Jones, hand passes to Webb, fresh back on the ground. Looks for Hewitt up forward. Archie used the body well. Holds him up at centre half-back. South Australia can go round the Chapel stand wing.
Spring it well to Inkster, but Inkster was caught trying to come back on his right leg. Instead was able on his left to find Shell leading up with the long sleeves. Shell quickly, well done by WA. The smother affected and Newick able to get away from half-back. Kick through centre square. And in dispute, neither side able to get the ball. Finally it comes up. Clint Jones just pokes it forward. And a mark for Eichner. Steadies, comes this side of the ground. Ball ace, ball tapped away by Keevers. And eventually 2-on-1. Keevers did very well to get it out of bounds. At half forward, WA will set up again. South Australia yet to score a goal in the opening term of this match, and Daryl Hart, centre of screen there, the South Australian coach would be particularly concerned.
Just really concerned with their decision making at the moment. They're just taking wrong decisions, taking wrong options, kicking short the 50-50 contest.
Boundary throw in front, one down by Parry. Kick by Eichner is blanketed, getting it forward as Ames. Maguire there, but he's stripped of the ball. Good play, running off the full back line by Powell. Thumps it into the middle of the ground. The fist in there by Basong. Opportunity for Clint Jones. He gets shunted to ground. Out comes Jeremy Clayton, South Australia's best player by a mile in this opening quarter, but he hand passes to a teammate, Campbell, who's under siege. And they'll have a ball up in the centre square.
Easy. I didn't see anything.
Jeremy Clayton's really been the only clean South Australian. Everyone else seems to fumble and be struggling with what little dew there is on the ground.
Daniel Bandy about to come back in. He won't have much game time replacing Hill. We're not far from quarter time. Oh, again, Campbell is upended. Well, he's a hot item at the moment, Campbell. That's on Hayden North, the man putting him to turf.
Straight up again,
Australia certainly wouldn't want to concede a late goal here. Be a very handy break to WA in slippery and very cool conditions. Opportunity for the skipper ball ace to Parry. Parry gets a hand pass back. Well, that was crude. And an automatic or an easy free kick there. And taking it is Whiteman. He's been told he's played on. Pickett couldn't quite smother the kick. Comes out wide back for the target. Good fist in there by Rutherford. And we'll have another boundary throw in.
So it is just curious about WA. They're running a lot of interchange, is that right?
Well, they are certainly moving a lot more through their system than South Australia. South Australia just had Mark Clayton on and off, but certainly Western Australia have had Woden off and a couple of midfield players, Crabs, come on. So they are ahead of South Australia, certainly making changes.
South Australia keeping the faith. Gowan's out in front of Shell, good hands. Possibly the glove helped that one. And Shell now will line up. He'll probably kick from just outside 50. And he'll do well to carry the distance, I would have thought, Andrew.
Will certainly struggle, but look, a badly needed goal for South Australia. Just give him some momentum in a quarter time.
Plays back, makes a lie of me, makes the distance easy. Accuracy was there. Daniel Shell, a two-time Farmer medalist in the SANFL as the leading goal kicker. Nice goal. And South Australia, as you say, badly needed.
Certainly just give him some momentum going into quarter time, and Central District's teammates there. It's a great kick on his non-preferred side. Shell's just clean. Not too much of West Australian fullback could do about that. And importantly for South Australia, after they've had a couple of opportunities late in this quarter, went back and nailed the goal. And as I said, it just gives them some momentum and just puts some doubts in the minds of Western Australia.
Ball thrown up in the middle. Parry wins it on the way down. Ball lays a quick hand pass. It ends up with Gallagher. Gallagher comes out wide. Hayden North trying to close the opponent down there, Campbell. Campbell, evasive skills, but he left the footy behind. It was held. The umpire saying he wasn't in possession when Hayden North laid the tackle. It was more by accident the design, that free kick. Campbell was actually trying to keep control of the footage. He goes to right half forward. Shell in the mix again. Over the back, Crab. Hand pass away to Keevers. Keevers goes across half back and hits Ames on the chest. The long striding Talon Ames goes over the defensive 50, touches it down, and now kicks into open territory on the wing. Theo Adams perhaps was the target. He'll get there right near the boundary line. And in fact, the ball has gone over just forward of right wing for Western Australia. Peter German in the foreground of the front row there. Pretty happy at the moment with proceedings.
Quick one for Andrew Rogers, boys. Stephen Kenner, with his leg speed, hasn't been on for SA at the moment. Would you whip him on?
Yeah, I think that's not really their problem at the moment. It's more actually winning the contested footy. It's all right to have leg speed. No good if you haven't got the footy.
Pickett, he's got plenty of leg speed, just pops up the hand pass. Well met by Maguire. South Australia with the numbers, but only briefly. Now Clint Jones gets it around the corner. South Australia with the numbers again, and that time going back bravely was Powell. This side of the ground, he's got Backwell in space, not for long. Bandy shuts him down. He can go by foot over the top to Whitener, who's got plenty of pace. The ball sits up beautifully for him. Looks down towards Shell, who comes on the lead. And Shell brings it to the front nicely. Howard was there. And siren time as Howard is taken over the line in a big way. And WA would be very happy with that first quarter. As we look there, 3-4-22, Western Australia, South Australia, 1-3-9.
Certainly been the fluency of Western Australia that's really been important so far in this game. They've moved the ball really well out of half-back flank. They've run the footy through there. They've had some targets up forward, and while they haven't taken a lot of marks, have contested really well. For South Australia point of view, they really have struggled as far as clean possession, winning the contested footy.
You mentioned clean possession. Chris Maguire, we mentioned from Western Australia, with the gloved hands, Glenn. He's handled the ball perfectly.
Well, he's an unusual build for a full forward. He's not overly tall, but he is very, very strong, and he runs at the ball in a straight line, and he knows, or he has defenders thinking, because you can see there, he's a very burly customer.
Late inclusion in the WA squad too.
Yes, he wasn't in there initially, but 29 goals, 11 this year for Swan District. So when he gets the footy, he's a dead-eye dick. And Ben Keevers, Peter German, talking about some physicality needed. And Armstrong was very good also in that first quarter.
Well, they've been very good with their discipline. You can see that goes directly to the hot spot, exactly where you wanted it to forward. And it puts a lot of pressure on the defenders. And Jones has been important. You see him kick that goal there. He almost set up another one early. Here's an indiscretion by South Australia. There's Maguire again, just providing a contest. Jones front and centre. It's pretty simple footy, but very effective.
No doubt about that. And South Australia, only late in the quarter, began to have a measure of control over the fleet-footed midfielders.
This is unlucky. Look at this one. It was online at the very last second. It's broken right into the goalpost.
The turn you get. And this is an example, I guess, of the pressure that they tried to put on, a little bit of push and shove. And Craig Parry, quick in there, as is his way, to put some physical presence around for South Australia.
I would have thought they would have had an advantage in the physicality stakes tonight. Certainly West Australia footy is more open, more clean skilled. South Australia certainly pride themselves on being harder at the footy, and that's an area they've been found undone tonight.
Anthony Jones with those 2 goals, the only multiple goal kicker, and he kicked those, within a minute of each other. As we look through the stats, what do you make of those, Andrew?
Yeah, it's pretty even. Inside 50 certainly favour West Australia. It's also important what you do with those inside 50s and where they go. They've been very disciplined, kicking to the top of the square, so it goes deep into that forward line, so you get true inside 50s rather than at the 48-metre mark.
And we're going down to have a listen to Daryl Hart and what he's telling his players in the SA huddle.
He's coming flat out. That one with Jeremy, that's a really hard kick. Back yourself to just control your speed a little bit, because the kick will be okay. Our movement was a lot better there. You know what they're doing with their rucks? You've worked that out well. Craig, you start again, but be aware he's got good legs and he runs away. But your strength is in the movement from the contest, which we started to dictate, okay? Be aware that when you come into it, your movement's got to be forward, and we've got to get it clear of the contest. Those last couple of minutes was just started to get back onto our ascendancy. That was excellent when you came on. You do the same thing when we changed like that. It was really good. Luke and Mike just started to settle down towards the end, started to use the ball. Trust yourself all the time. Okay? Since great work through here, Andrew.
So we don't get to hear from Daryl Hart too many times because he's not a club coach now, but very instructional there.
Yeah, he certainly was, and what he just mentioned to the boys there was just taking a while to settle down. And he talked to Dean Howard. You might have just picked up at the start of his chat there to the players. South Australia have got a rather unconventional centre-half forward in Howard. He's only 5'11". They brought him in because the ground is wet, but his problem with Howard was that he was leading too hard in these conditions, so he wanted him just to take it easy and time his leads and perhaps make sure the ball comes to the front rather than hitting it at full pace. Pretty hard to mark a slippery ball in those conditions. Lots of praise for Andrew Whiteman. Madness, as he's known here in the SANFL. Courage, putting his body on the line. So Daryl Hart very happy with the way he's going. So let's head over to Michael Maney and find out exactly what Peter German had to say.
Thanks, Sodas. Peter German really happy with their commitment. 12 tackles to 5, so they're pretty happy with the hardness at the moment. They really have been tough at the football. The inside 50s, he just said, let's just keep pumping it in there. Let's keep running and running and running. And he's pretty happy generally with it. They all broke up for their groups, and they just spoke about the commitment and the pride in the Guernsey. But Peter German, all up, pretty happy with the way it went in that first term.
Shane Woden listening intently there, and he was prominent at opening exchanges. He went out of it towards the end of the quarter, but certainly early on he was very prominent, as he has been throughout his time back at East Fremantle.
It's just footy smarts, isn't it? I mean, he's just smart player, knows where to go, what to do in certain predicaments. And you can see he knows he's got time so he can use the footy. When he's under pressure, he knows what the preferred give is, and he knows he makes the right decisions.
Phil Lamb, one of the chairman of selectors for WAs with Michael.
Thanks, Neil. Phil, Peter German have to be happy with that first term.
He was very happy. The endeavour was there. I think we've still got to work on our matchups a little bit and identify who our targets are and the immediate opponents. We've got to improve in that area, but it's coming together pretty well in the first quarter.
Slippery conditions, players are coping with that all right. They've got screw-ins mainly?
Well, yeah, they have, but South Fremantle and Subiaco play a lot of night footy, so they're used to that, and they make up a fair part of our side.
Thanks very much for that, Phil, and good luck in this second term.
Thank you.
Yeah, Glenn, pretty happy camp in WA, and they're going all right at the moment.
Thanks, Michael. No doubt they would be happy. A 13-point margin in favour of Western Australia. They kicked the first 3 goals of the game before Daniel Schell got South Australia on the board from a goal point of view 28 minutes into that opening term. Talon Ames again to lead the ruck for Western Australia in their second quarter. He's got a big lead, but he has the better of Parry. Down to Woden, the man we were looking at a moment ago. Kicks to half forward with a good mark back there, and the hand pass laid off immediately to Thomas. Kicks it up towards the middle of the ground. Chance in there for South Australia again. They keep the ball alive through Sheedy. Out wide, not a tidy looking kick from Gowans. Under pressure, Campbell. Will it go out of play? It will. Boundary throw in. Western Australia maintain this pressure. They certainly have 3 very good and agile big men, Bandy, Newick and Ames. Already we've seen them rotate through the middle and at times through the interchange bench as well. But Bandy and Ames are very talented up forward, can take the big mark. As the hand pass came from Woden to Keeve as he kicks towards the outer wing. Jones outnumbered 2-1. Gallagher taps it too hard though. It gets to Kane Hayes. Was intended for Inkster, and then Clint Jones goes out wide, the smallest man in the game. Pickett does well on the second attempt to Kane Hayes. Hayes sweeps a hand pass to the skipper Jones. Hand pass to Webb, who's a left footer. Grubbers one inside 50. Running back in there is Rutherford. Coming out from the goal square is Maguire. Now an opportunity for Evan Hewitt, and he finishes off for Western Australia. Well, not really the sort of goal envy you'd expect from a big man, but he did very well there with a slippery ball below his knees.
They just kept it alive as they went forward. They kept numbers around the footy. They kept trying to keep it out. You can see here it's just bobbling around. Just gets it going our way. And there's Evan Hewitt just sitting out, not really involved with the play. See, it just gets tapped out there. Look, they are very good at using the space. They use the space well out. They switch the play out of the back half. They found space in their forward line. They kept the ball going their way. And in these conditions, it's working very well for them.
Well, it's a good track if you're a West Australian at the moment. Ames opposed to Parry. Does his own roving. Parry can't successfully get it out of the centre circle, and that's the smaller circle. Now they're trying to crawl their way through James Gowans to get out of the bigger circle. We'll get a ball up eventually. Richard Williams, very experienced South Australian umpire, to throw the ball up. Tend to throw the ball up, the South Australian umpires, except if they're AFL listed, then they'll bounce it. Jeremy Clayton working in confined space was beautiful, and then the delivery nicely done by Inkster on the lead, took the mark. Now he's waiting. Warren and Schell both went and then propped, so Inkster waited, and then the kick wasn't the best, but it was for Schell coming across the front. I was going to say it wasn't the greatest. It looked like Western Australia was going to be able to cut it out with Woden sitting under it though. Schell came across and took a mark 25 metres out.
And you touched on it well there, Neil. Both are full forwards for their clubs and both are normally the leading targets. At the moment, they're struggling to create space for each other.
Schell with South Australia's only goal at the 28-minute mark of the opening quarter. Now he's got 2.
Listen, Tim Inkster needs to get lively at half forward. He is an impact player. And just a beautiful delivery there by Jeremy Clayton. And it was just a beautifully weighted kick out in front. Here it is. Just on replay, didn't try to punch it too hard, kicked it on Shane Woden's head. That enabled Daniel Schell to have a really good jump at it, and he looks as though he may be the forward that might be able to drag South Australia back into this game.
Benny Warren's just come off the ground for a spell. A little bit of a smaller player going down there. Stevie Kennett from South Adelaide's headed down the forward line.
Sandover medalist Shane Barros wanting to go back on the ground for Western Australia as well. Ames in the ruck once again in the middle, opposed to Parry. Parry's had 3 men to ruck against so far tonight. Big ball's not going to come out in a hurry. He'll go through it again.
And South Australia have a mismatch with Bryce Campbell up against Aidan Parker. That's why you find that they're trying to get Shane Barros onto the ground to change that match up around.
Now Newick in the ruck this time. Jeremy Clayton's hand pass knocked down. Adams slung into the turf by Ball Ace. Desperation shown. Jeremy Clayton gets the hand pass out. It comes wider still with pace. Thomas links up by hand with Gowans. Left foot kick direct down the middle, but coming across to stymie that attack is Rumble. Rumble, with no one standing the mark, pinches a metre or two, goes to the outer side, and Newick, his Subiaco teammate, links up with another one in Pickett. So a hat-trick of Subiaco players looking to go further afield to Ames, but chopped off there and taken out of play by Eichner. The opening 5 minutes of the second term, and Shane Barros is about to come on now with Parker. You ever thought of coaching Adelaide? You thought that's perfect at that time. Ball thrown in on the outer side. The silence, I think, is no. One down by Parry. Stay with us here. Parry gets his own roving. Hand pass it out towards the boundary line. Armstrong, quick hand pass to Clint Jones. Hurry kick forward. It lands fortuitously with Pickett. The little man plays on over the top to Jones. Can he get his third goal? Pulls it across the body. Archie back. Did he get a hand on it? I don't think he did. The WA skipper's got his third.
Been very lively as Jones just getting away from Mackenzie way too easy, but importantly you can see here they've just got numbers as they run forward. They're just dropping off the pack of the Western Australians, and the South Australians are working with them, and just good work by Evan Newitt. We'll get a look at this in replay. Just turns it around the corner, and there's Evan Newitt, just works Corey Archie away from the contest. 2 goals to 1, exactly the start that Western Australia wanted in this second quarter.
Well, they maintain that margin, a 2 to 3 goal margin that they got early on, and they've maintained that. 19 points at the moment. South Australia out of the middle again through Jeremy Clayton, down to Howard at half forward. Comes to the front and nicely roved. Ball comes out for South Australia towards goal, and here's Kenner. Kenner couldn't grab the ball under pressure. Now Inkster gets around his left foot. It was touched off the boot. Shell down there. Rumble knocks it away from him. It'll be rushed through. Taking it over quite content was Rutherford.
Just Tim Inkster just starting to get a little bit busy now. Needs to be heavily involved with the half forward to provide options. Because they're only small up forward, he now becomes a marking leading player.
Barros to Woden, the margin at even 3 goals. On offer short on the defensive 50 was Rutherford. That's ignored. Woden will get the hurry up now. He goes in the direction of Kane Hayes. Had to sit and wait. Spoilt by Clayton. Over the back. It's taken there by Parry. A hand pass to Ball Ace. On in turn to Thomas, who gets it now towards Jeremy Clayton. Good peripheral vision. Rather than just throwing it on the boot towards full forward, he's found Gowans. And Gowans within range here with the man on the mark about 45 out from goal.
He's got a feeling it might stretch him a little bit. He's not the longest kick in the competition. This will take his very best.
Gallagher off. Where would they be, though, without Jeremy Clayton?
Yeah, exactly right. He's been clean. He's been the one that's trying to set everything up. Just needs some help in the midfield.
Gowans plants his left foot on 50. That is a very good, powerful kick, and they get another one. So it's 2 goals apiece in the opening 8 minutes of the second term.
And just a good decision there by Jeremy Clayton to bring it back into the middle. You see there, Shane Thomas gets dealt with after. Just instead of going to the pocket, worked it back into the middle, and Gowans with great courage to go back into space. Takes a mark. Thought it would have stretched him from just on 50. Just timed it beautifully. Didn't try to overkick it. Get the answering goal. The game's starting to break open a bit now.
2 busiest players on the ground are in the South Australian midfield. Jeremy Clayton's had 16 possessions. Scott Ball Ace 13.
The dulcet tones of Ian Mockridge, our statistician, as Western Australia will take the ball through Webb out of the centre break and down towards Hewitt, who Archie looked like he was in the back and then some. Finally, well, Whiteman looked like he took a player high in Armstrong, and finally the ball will be bounced up. So a couple of free kicks maybe could have gone to the Sandgropers there.
You'd be happy being a WA player knowing that you're playing on madness.
Yeah.
That would put a shiver down your back.
Fractured his skull at one stage last year. Did Whiteman, and ball in dispute again, just outside WA's forward 50.
That's better from South Australia. We saw them, they were in closer to the contest, trying to lay it down. Early on in this game, Western Australia were getting inside them at the contested ball.
O'Hara, and there was some shepherding off the ball, perhaps, was there? It'll be a free kick to South Australia. And Backwell, interesting story in Backwell, he did, for our WA viewers, he did it a very unusual thing in the off-season as the ball's punched out on centre wing. Yes, Brett Backwell decided that his ring finger was giving him enough trouble and decided to have it locked off so he could play better, a la Daniel Chick in the AFL. And he also made an appearance as a result of that, Brett Backwell. They took him to the Letterman show in the United States. They were so fascinated by his story.
Sheedy grubbers a kick forward, socket off the ground by Kenner, but Webb there to mop up. Hand passes over the top towards the wing and north. He's got the ruckman Newick outside him, accepts the hand pass, lopes to the wing proper, hand passes back to north. Did well in the tight confines to Basong. Basong likewise to Rudderforth, who likes to run, hasn't got space, goes to Maguire. Not a badly weighted kick, but Archie got a hand on it. Opportunity for Jones. Look at the tackle, may have lingered. Deep in defence, working hard there is Powell, and the ball has gone out of play.
South Australia's experiment of Dean Howard at centre-half forward is over for the moment. Coming on now, Mark Clayton, who's played a bit up forward for Port Adelaide this year. And just on Brett Backwell, you mentioned he was on the Letterman show. The highlight of that, his whole trip, was the fact that he was on with Terry Hatcher from Desperate Housewives and got to party with her afterwards.
Trust you to know that sort of information. Webb gets the hand pass to Keevers. Keevers a left-footer to the top of the goal square. Maguire the lead, couldn't take the mark. Strong body work in there by Rudderforth. Maguire calling for a holding the ball decision. Umpire Bandy from WA having none of it. And a dangerous situation here for South Australia. The ball to be bounced about 40 metres out from their defensive goal line.
Maguire, with those two jumpers, might have thought he'd be a bit cold at full forward, but he's been in plenty of action. He might be a bit warm now. Here's Clint Jones. He'll be able to pick it up and go to his left side. Immediately does so. Off the Rudderforth, off his left leg, puts it into dangerous territory. Armstrong just pushed away, and as a result, South Australia will come away through. James Gowans didn't like what he saw forward of the play, decided to go to the boundary line and deliver it. And he will argue with that because he loves arguing, James Gowans, but
there's no doubt that's what he was attempting to do, because he had no one on offer down the ground.
Certainly it's a tough call, but look, it's the right call. To the letter of the law, that was what he was trying to do.
Now Newick, he'll kick 70 metres from goal, so he goes inside instead, and Hayes just kicks it long, 20 metres from goal. Jones almost with the row for Western Australia. Inkster back there to Backwell, fumbled, Maguire over it, and now finally they'll get it away through ball. Ace goes wide and high, and South Australia under so much pressure. They'll be just happy to get this out of bounds. Instead, the hand pass comes back and WA forges forward. They spring the ball loose. In the middle it goes to Keevers. Keevers wants another hand pass, gets it wider still, and lining up for goal and kicking it was Newick. And has he kicked it? Way on the goal upper, I think he has. Fantastic finish from Newick, and they just worked the ball around the 50-metre arc until they got a free man.
And a free man hard to find because they had all 36 players in one half of the ground.
It's virtually a flood on. They just kept the ball alive, but it was just their forward line pressure, their ability to keep laying pressure that eventually South Australia turned it over. West Australia got control of the footy and were able to find a free bloke just inside 50, and Newick, who's a great kick, kicks a much-needed goal for Western Australia. Look, this margin is starting to blow out to a dangerous proportions if you're South Australia.
Daryl Hart has put big Craig Parry down the forward line. He's been picked up by 2004 Simpson medalist Chris Basson.
So O'Hara in the ruck now, opposed to Ames. One of their ruckmen, Newick, getting that last goal. So Western Australia doing well in the big man department. Neither ruckman overly effective. O'Hara tries to do his own raving. Campbell is upended, bounces back up again. Hand passes out wide. Adams bullets his way through for WA. Then may have got into the back of Ingston. No free kick. Advantage free kick there. Sheedy was held after he got it to Kenner, who goes inside 50. Jeremy Clayton trying to do it overhead now. Ball ace taken high. It was unlucky there for Jackson Crabb because Ball Ace was losing his footing there, losing his traction. But it was the correct decision. He was taken high. See Barros going in, but just as he went to turn there, Ball Ace, his feet started to slip from underneath him.
Certainly did. And look, that's a really good what could happen in this second half. Players wearing moulded boots are going to start slipping as the ground gets dewy and dewer. Look, very lucky to get that free kick, but importantly went front and centre. South Australia's been screaming out for a crumbing forward.
Pick it on for Armstrong. As the dual Norwood best and fairest. Ball Ace goes long and goes straight. And the skipper gets one back for South Australia. 14 minutes into the second term.
And South Australia just can't seem to get multiple goals in a hurry to put some real pressure back on Western Australia. There's Clayton probably not really what he's desired to do. And Barros just a little bit too eager over the top of Borlase. Gets a simple free kick, and importantly goes back to the goal. Importantly now for South Australia, they need to win the next ball out of the middle, see if they can score again quickly and really put some pressure, some scoreboard pressure back on Western Australia.
Jackson Crabb on boys for Webb, Newick on for Bandy.
Campbell with possession, and he was quickly dispossessed. Crabb was in there. Now the tackle made on Rutherford by Backwell, and it's in dispute, and the ball travelled 10 metres one way, 10 metres the other, and finally we'll get another ball up with Richard Williams, the South Australian umpire, to put the ball in the air. A little bit of a nick perhaps over the eye of Borlase, as the ball again is still in that centre square and still in dispute. And it's almost like South Australia's woken up and decided, gee, this is a contest.
Just feel as though there's a lift in intensity at the moment. The South Australians are saying, okay, we know you're here to play. Let's increase our intensity level and see if you can come and play at that standard also.
Ball one down by South Australia, but trying to break through in there was Jackson Crabb. He's held up. It's a rather stagnant period of play. Daryl Hart and the South Australian match committee back within 2 goals. The margin was 13 points at quarter time. Ames wins it down. Quick hand pass came out from Sheedy. Then the high kick from Borlase towards the attacking 50. Off hands, it's worked to Campbell. His kick has touched off the boot. Coming out, Mark Clayton left the footy behind. Kane Hayes to Woden to Barros. Now in turn to Jackson Crabb from the defensive 50. The man who captained WA in their win against Queensland last year, kicks to the wing. Big leap by Talon Ames, and the ball has gone off hands out of bounds. Talon Ames, the leading ruckman this season at the WAFL, averaging 20 effective hit-outs a game. That was a big leap. So it couldn't quite get purchase. Scored by Eichner's fist as well as the ball is thrown in. One down in there by O'Hara. Under pressure in there was Keevers. Under plenty of pressure on the bottom of the pack as Parker. Crabb seemed to go in high, no free kick. Loose ball comes to Campbell. Hurry kick to full forward. Shell actually caught behind, had to fist it away. Keevers soccers off the ground, that was dangerous. Breaking through across half-back as North. Gets it off by hand to a teammate who was almost pushing the back Adams. Keevers now towards Woden. Gets it on now towards North. To Parker. This is better work by South Australia, the pressure. Mark Clayton gets it out by hand under pressure. They keep working it square. Sheedy with the footy now. Well tackled by Keevers, and Crabb can run onto it. And WA weather that storm by the South Australian forwards. Couple of bounces takes Crabb into WA's attacking half.
Anthony Jones called him to run, and as a result put himself out of position, and Mackenzie read it well for South Australia. Now he's got possession. Goes out the back to Powell. In the middle he's got Kenner. Kenner can take off. His nickname is Pace, and look at that. Just takes off really quickly. Down to half forward almost. Got it there, well done by Campbell. Got to his feet to Inkster. Off his left leg, his natural foot. Goes long, Shell got rid of his man. And took a nice mark. Goal coming up for South Australia. This will lift the crowd.
Just get a feel of South Australians lifting at the moment. They've increased their intensity. Just a clever kick there by Tim Inkster. Could have gone to the pocket and deep to the pocket and on another South Australian lead. Instead went to the top, went to a central position. You can see Parry led to the pocket. The kick just favoured Shell. Doesn't always have to be a pinpoint pass to a full forward. He just favoured him. He was able to use his body just to work his opponent underneath the footy. Had the presence of mind to play on quickly. Kicks a goal. We now have a ball game. It's now only a goal of difference. There's some real scoreboard pressure back on Western Australia.
He's got 3 of their 4 goals, Daniel Shell. Twice a winner of the Farmer Medal for being the highest goal kicker in the home and away for the SANFL. Crabb's kick into bodies. It ricochets back from the man who affected the smother. Gowans gets it on to Borlase. Borlase up towards full forward. Oh, the mark was dropped by Parry resting down there. Hand passes away to Campbell. Campbell a hand pass off to Inkster. Too far out to score. Goes for the centering kick. Shell can line up for his 4th.
And we saw Western Australia really disciplined in the first quarter, kicking into that hot spot. Tim Inkster once again kicks into that spot. Daniel Shell, just a really good honest leap. Just unable to get body pressure on his Western Australian opponent. he is now determining to be the key forward in the game.
Lining up for his fourth. Dead in front. From 35 metres, he's missed to the left. That is a bad miss from that range.
It certainly is, especially when he got all the momentum. Here's his great mark again. He's just starting to bring with confidence. Probably hasn't been in great nick in the SANFL so far. You can see him starting to grow in confidence this game goes on.
Just on that, Andrew Daniel Shell's kicked 7 goals, 11 behinds in his last 2 games for Central Districts.
Well, WA have quickly got the ball down to their half-forward line. Eighton has stopped it for South Australia, and Backwell was taken high over the line. He'll take the free kick. Quickly gets it on because he's got players loose ahead of him. So South Australia will get another chance to go in through Shell. Another great lead umpire. Has he played the mark? Yes, he did. So Shell, too far out, you'd think, to score. And he knows it, so he squares it up quickly, looking for Gowans. His Central District teammate says, thanks a lot. Ball finally comes out, though, to Mark Clayton. Fresh air shot. Finally, WA with an opportunity to get out of there, and they just get it out of their defensive 50. Bandy taken out of it nicely by O'Hara. Good bump release, Gowans. Gowans goes back to McKenzie. McKenzie assesses and drops it in short for Mark Clayton. Back in the square if he can get it to Inkster. He was on the lead. He's got good position. Tim Inkster! No, falls over the back. It'll go through for the minor score.
And James Gowans has really lifted his work rate here. He's the one, the tough nut. We saw him effect a smother in the middle, then able to get the ball back. Just starting to really become active and really worry Peter German.
Crab plays on around the wing, but backpedaling. The mark is taken by the green booted Backwell. He plays on to the busy Jeremy Clayton, just beyond his kicking range. On the lead is the skipper and ball aces mark. 40 out, he'll go over the top, backpedaling into the goal square. The mark has been taken by Inkster, is it? At the top of the goal square. South Australia have not been in front tonight, but a straight kick here, and you'd think that, well, the miss, you'd struggle to miss from that distance, will have them in front 22 minutes into their second quarter.
That's it, thank you, that's it, nice one.
Tim Inkster from Woodville, West Torrens, rams it home, and South Australia now putting some scoreboard heat on the visitors.
They certainly are, and it's just a turnover coming out of the fence which really hurts you when you're telling your backman to run. They've run to create, it gets turned over. Clayton, who's been clean, been very impressive with his things. Borlase just with a presence to go back quickly, get back off the mark quickly without tucking the ball under his arm, walking back with his back to play. A really good learning curve there for many youngsters. Look, always have your wits about you, and Inkster, who's been active, very active in this second quarter.
Peter German, boys, is making about his 7th change in the last 7 or 8 minutes. With Beros about to come on, they've made some changes down. Interesting that German coaching in the WA League and the WAFL, and Daryl Hart not. Daryl Hart just hasn't used that interchange bench very much at all.
So he's behind the times, Michael.
Not saying that, Neil. It's just a difference in coaching styles.
Well, South Australia in front for the first time tonight. They lead it by 2 points. And immediately WA respond, taking the ball out of the middle, Pickett at the front. Ball knocked away by Whiteman. And just over, I don't know Whiteman well. He thought he kept it in just for a moment. So just a slight lull at the moment, close to half-time. Well, into time on in the second quarter. O'Hara coming over the top. Ames got away with one, I thought. Came back to Borlase. Borlase down to half forward, looking for Inkster, and did well. Keevers then played on. Umpire let it go. Parker under pressure. Taken down by Mark Clayton. Still play on. South Australia lining up in the middle. One of them was Kenner. Could drop it across to Backwell, and Backwell will line up for goal 30 metres out from goal.
Tempo of the game has changed. South Australia have certainly lifted their intensity and in particular their tackling. There is no easy possessions out there for Western Australia now.
And Western Australia continue to use that rotation policy on the bench as Backwell slots home another one. And South Australia lead by 8 points.
And with that tackling intensity increase, they've also increased their work rate, but also their ability to make decisions. And we can see there, we just missed it where there was a great series of tackles by South Australia. Eventually it's spilled loose to Inkster. He worked it over to Kenner. And finally we saw Backwell work into space. So Tim Inkster's really had an impact in this forward line, not only kicking goals, but also his forward line pressure and also setting them up.
Western Australia now, can they respond? Ames has the better of O'Hara in the ruck. Chance for Webb, couldn't find the handle. Sheedy not helped out by his teammate Jeremy Clayton diving at his feet, but Clayton won the day by hand to Gowans. Gowans then off towards Sheedy, out wide, coming out to meet the ball. The goal scorer back roll, too much agility for Rutherford. Burnt him off with ease. Overcooks the kick over the head of the leading Parry. Back in defence, Hayden North. Hand passes off to Basong. Normally a left footer, has to use the right on that occasion to Bandy. Bandy will come to Beros, just back on the ground. Now Beros has got a sea of South Australian jumpers down in front of him on the wing. As a result, he's looking infield. Now he will just bomb it for distance. Jones has come down right from centre half forward. They've done better in front on that occasion, South Australia. Opportunity for them still. Jeremy Clayton goes to ground. Mackenzie head over the footy. Got it to Clayton. Taken high. It was a bit reckless by Pickett initially. And a free kick to Clayton. See Pickett's right arm. He then ran through number one. Ran through from the scene of the crime. The squaring kick to Mackenzie. Mackenzie has back. Well, he marked 60 metres out. In fact, the push in the back has been paid according to the umpire. That was his signal. Went backward. Too far out to score. Western Australia have got a lot of men back.
It's the trouble with no tall targets forward. You really got to try to pinpoint a pass.
Goes looking for Inkster. That was pretty indirect in the end. Shell can't keep it alive. A boundary throw in.
And I touched on it earlier. You don't really need to have a big gun full forward. You just need someone to create a contest there at full forward. Just to go to the pockets. It's just a wasted opportunity for South Australia.
It's those deep pockets at the Adelaide Oval in front of the old scoreboard. Parry did well, took possession, went backwards to Sheedy, and the 2002 Magarey medalist will line up for goal. Gee, this game's turned around in the last 10 minutes or so. Western Australia hasn't scored since the 12-minute mark of the quarter, and when they kicked their third goal of the quarter and led by 18 points.
South Australia have had the last 11 inside 50s.
So here's Sheedy. Normally a long kick, and this time accuracy just not quite there for the minor score.
It was always going to be the dilemma, and that low touch was certainly going to be applied at some stage to Western Australia tonight. They just need their good players to get hold of the footy, the Wodens and players like that who have played and experienced and at this type of intensity.
Hayes found Ames, who clears the centre line with his kick. Thomas bats it out of play and will have a throw in.
Peter German's got a fair bit of ability, a fair bit of faith in the running ability of Daniel Bandy. He's picking up Jade Sheedy on the member side wing here.
Well, Woden stalking the boundary line. He won't have much time if he does come back on in the 28th minute of the second term. South Australia have kicked the last 4 goals of the game. O'Hara up high, won it down. Head over the footy, Beros as always. Quick hand pass, well controlled by North. Here's a chance for the pacey Pickett. The goal square is open if he can gather, and the dual Sandover medalist gets the margin back to within 3 points. And the first time that WA had been in attack effectively in a quarter of an hour.
And it was a very important goal. They just kicked it into space, and because South Australia had all the play, the Western Australian players had flooded back. You can see there was just a kick in hope, really, but it just opened up so much space. And Pickett just super quick, super agility, just read it quicker than anybody else in the South Australian side, and importantly finished off. Just a steadying goal for Western Australia, just to bring this back to a margin that's not getting away from them, and just give them some momentum going into half-time.
3 points the margin. WA's first goal since the 12-minute mark. So 15 minutes of football without being able to score. And now another infringement by South Australia in the centre square. Leaves it for Bandy, goes wide for Jones. A long way from home for Anthony Jones, the skipper. Drives it in long. And at the back, Maguire at it best. Should be another goal for WA. And it is. 2 for Maguire. Goal umpire confused, can't find the central umpire, but don't worry about that. That was a goal.
The game's just turned again. I mean, Western Australia had been totally dominated in this quarter by South Australia. He's assumed control of it, really, and looked as though they were going to maybe run away with it, and half-time couldn't come fast enough. You can see there Luke Powell just loses Maguire in the contest, just watching the footy. It's been important up forward, doesn't lead a lot of opportunities to hurt you.
As Neilaway said, he couldn't find the field umpire. The WA umpire, Greg Bandy, dressed in orange, as they do in the WAFL, so the goal umpire probably confused. It was the SANFL goal umpire down at that end. Now, off the play, umpire Bandy has seen a free kick, and it's going to go the way of his namesake. Bandy in the ruck, goes towards Jones. Strong finish to the first half by WA. Jones bounces to his feet, bombs it long, back in the goal square, no one there. Hewitt was the target. Archie was able to fist it from his chest, and it goes through for a behind.
The thing you don't like about Jones is he really moves it. Here's the centre square. You can see Western Australia talking about working out where they're going to hit it. It's great play. Look, very good to get that organised at a state level.
And then they're worried in the end because Parry's infringement gave him the ball anyway. So Western Australia working at the back. Here's North. He's got a little bit of room, takes his time, almost puts himself under pressure. And they can almost turn it over. WA just mucking around with the ball at half-back. And in the end, South Australia are able to shut them down. We've gone past 30 minutes in this quarter. Western Australia has wrested back the lead by 4 points. Umpire Bandy thumps the ball into the turf. Backwell did well, knocked it forward. Clayton, Mark Clayton, stripped of the ball. Good tackle coming in there. And we'll get another ball up. That tackle was from Hayes.
Just a tremendous attack on the footy there by Mark Clayton. You can see he really wanted it. Really tried to inspire some of his teammates.
By Bandy, thumps into the turf again. Up high, Kane Hayes knocks it forward for WA. Backwell goes to ground, didn't lose the footy. Got it to Gowans. On in turn to Sheedy. Hurried left footer inside 50. Hayden North almost a clever mark. In goes Mark Clayton again. He's zealous, he wants the footy, but it was held to him. And we'll have a ball up. And South Australia's attacking 50 at left half forward.
Adam Fisher onto the ground for the first time tonight. A late inclusion, of course, for Gavin Hughes. Coming off is James Gowans. He's a bit limpy and proppy on that left calf. He looks like he's in a bit of trouble.
Doesn't look too good. Have an extended half-time break. Adams, hand pass to Woden. Kicks it high in best position to Marcus Sheedy. Back with the flight. Rudolph did well. Made a contest. Backwell off hands. Gives it to his skipper, and ball lace upended over the boundary line by Beros. A long quarter, not surprising.
11 goals.
There's the Gowans bringing himself off the ground virtually. 11-goal quarter, as we just heard.
Is Whiteman trapped in there? Was lucky umpire came in early because he wasn't able to get that ball out, as James Gowans just pointing out what problem he has with that calf or ankle perhaps. So South Australia, I think Western Australia will be content to shut this down just at the moment and take that lead to the half-time break. Backwell releases Sheedy in a bit of space. He'll get a Shepard. Now goes in long looking for Shell. Parker came back and thumped it wide. Campbell and Beros was dogged, forced him to turn over the ball, and now it comes back for WA. Well, almost intercepted by Bullas. The mistake there by Adams. Finally Jones, it's Clint Jones, and I reckon North wanted to go to the line. Jones keeps it in. Finally Adams just scrambles the kick away. They did well. Armstrong. Woden's loose in the middle. Briefly, Armstrong looks down the line. He's still looking down the line. He hasn't spotted Woden in the centre of play, and that will be the end of the first half of football. And Western Australia did well. They were behind late in that quarter, managed to get back in front by 4 points at half-time.
When a quarter that really ebbed and flowed, we saw the first half where Western Australia really dominated the first quarter and probably deserved to be probably a little bit more in front, but South Australia really applied the blowtorch early in that second quarter. They made better decisions, they increased their intensity, tackled a lot better than what they did in the first quarter, and forced their way back into the game and got in front. Western Australia, to their credit, made the most of late opportunities and got their nose in butts, beautifully poised here at half-time.
South Australia 6 goals to 5 in that quarter, but they still trail the West Australians by 4 points at half-time.
The pressure's on.
There's a bit of tension, a little bit of drama.
The champ could be in trouble.
Love watching it, no idea how much I know about it.
And there's more than pride on the line.
And he actually believes that he will win the belt.
It's the contest for sports nuts.
Hit the hot seat.
Are you ready to go head-to-head? 6 o'clock tonight.
WA on the road, leading by 4 points at half-time. If we go back to 2003, WA was hosting South Australia at Fremantle Oval, and they thought they had a big chance of beating the South Australians at home. Wasn't to be. Let's have a look through those highlights. South Australia will take the ball straight away. Opportunity. Just slips the hand pass to Ambrose, and on the 1-2, falling over, gets the hand pass off. And down inside, half forward it goes. South Australia an opportunity twice there to get the ball, and eventually snapped out of the pack. Well done.
Travis McLean.
By Travis McLean. And he's prominent around the goals, isn't he? James Gowans. And down the line they go. In best position, Ambrose, brave, coming back into the pack. South Australia, they whip their hand pass forward. A lot of trouble there. Maloney couldn't take possession for Western Australia. Squire was in there. Hand pass came eventually from Squire. And into the open, and Backwell has the first for South Australia. Good hands in close from Squire, set up Backwell, and he finished the job. Again, Ambrose getting a touch. His kick didn't go much distance. Backwell immediately down to Bradshaw on the lead. Couldn't take a chest mark. It looked awkward in the end. Around the corner from Graham. Question of a bounce. The bounce was good, and Western Australia has fallen behind now. South Australia takes the lead.
Wow, wonderful pick up at ground level by Graham, who snapped that goal. But Simon Duckworth just allowing his opponent in Bradshaw to compete for that quick kick out of the middle.
Well, Western Australia will clear from the back now. And South Australians have set up what was, in the old days, known as the wall.
Playing a good game, Arnott.
Yes.
Yeah, going well.
Uses the ball usually pretty well. That time wasn't the best. Chris Gowans, not long on the ground. Good couple of dummies. Then Hopwood. Then running for him was Thomas. The Central District's boys combine. And a goal for South Australia. And they've gone 11 points clear.
To centre half forward, WA behind. De Courcy knocks it away. Taken here by Anderson. He got a high tackle. He's still in the centre square. The Sandover medalist. Kick lacks a bit of depth, but it will find a target in Ridley, who's marked 50 metres out on a 45-degree angle. WA inside 57 times. South Australia 13 so far in this first term. Ridley. He's a dead-eyed Dick. Drop punt on the way. Looks good off the boot. Wait on the goal umpire. I think he's done it. He's put it through, Ridley. Bossong over the top. Chance here for WA now as the captain, Brad Bootsma from the crest, kicks out towards the 50. And on the lead, Smith's taken a strong mark on his chest, 55 metres out from goal on a 45-degree angle.
Well, I mentioned before the game, the half-back line of WA, just the run that they can generate. And Brad Bootsma playing half-back and receiving that hand pass. What a great foot disposal.
He'll go close from here. Drop punt on the way. Gun barrel straight and across the line. Another goal to Western Australia. They reduce the margin to 4 points.
Arnott, just the early days in this third term. Just the one score at the moment for South Australia to take the margin to 6 points. James Gowans, his kick looking for Hopwood. He was good, took the mark, played on immediately. His pass was perfect to Howard on the lead. And Howard marks inside the forward 50 for South Australia. And with the breeze, which looks to have eased off just slightly, he still should be able to make this distance. Dean Howard from West Adelaide. Started out at Broadbeach on the Gold Coast. Just eases into that kick. The accuracy was perfect. A goal to South Australia, the margin 12 points.
A very neat foot pass, finds Healy. Plays on, kicks to centre half forward, Ambrose in front. From behind, destroyed. Comes down to Howard. Kicked a goal a few moments ago. That's well shepherded, brilliantly shepherded by Bradshaw. And it's bounced through for a goal, and he's kicked two.
And here comes Arnott. Let's see if the South Australians will be a bit cleaner with their hands. Hopwood, they link together, and then Hopwood looks back through the centre corridor. He'll get a free kick after disposal, so it'll go to Healy. Healy will line up. Hand pass off to Backwell. He'll be shut down from behind, gets the kick just in time, and on the lead comes Bradshaw. It's fallen over the back, into open goal. No worries for South Australia. Brad Chambers is the player who goes into open goal, and South Australia has another one this afternoon, and Chambers has two. Hand pass to Anderson. Anderson then long into centre half forward, and it wasn't the greatest of kicks for McLean. Falls fortuitously. Now the hand pass off to Johnson. Johnson inside 50, high kick. It's 2-on-1. If the ball comes the right way, Johnson gets the greatest bounce you could imagine. Wait on the umpire. He's picked out a free kick, has he?
It's to WA, and surely he's got to pay the advantage. The ball's bounced through for a goal.
Well, I saw the umpire touch his chest, the goal umpire that is, so maybe it was the wrong side of the post.
Okay, so I thought it bounced straight through the middle. No, you must be right, Neil. I think that could only explain it.
So the free kick comes back to Smith, and he'll have an opportunity to kick his second this afternoon, third in fact this afternoon. So Smith from virtually directly in front made the goal umpire do some work, and he fell over at the same time, so not very good for Smith, except the result. That was the best possible. He kicks a goal for WA, and they creep back into the game just slightly. It's their opening score of the quarter, and we've gone 14 and a half minutes.
Bello finds a way through. Hand pass out wide. Sampson skirting the 50. Lots of time, too much time. Has a good look and then finds a teammate. I think it's Backwell who's marked. 40 metres out. Slight angle. Given far too much latitude.
Well, there's a skill actually of being able to find as much space as he's getting today. A player, I mean, his opponent needs to have an awareness where he is, but he is very clever.
But Sampson had 10 minutes to find him.
Absolutely.
The real Sampson didn't have that much time. Backwell, good kick, straight, gun barrel straight. Drop punt, good looking kick to half forward. Fuster up, rare mark for him today. Plays on quickly, drop punt up towards Smith. He's wrestling with his opponent and going back strongly, and then into the pack was Hopwood, or might have been Howard. There's a kick off the ground, and he's kicked a goal. Backwell, and from the edge of the square, kicks it forward.
Beautiful kick.
And Gowans has taken the mark. This is Chris Gowans, 35 metres out on a 45-degree angle. He would have had 4 positions already in this quarter.
Well,
Backwell.
Trev, I've just been watching him. I'm still trying to work out which West Australian player is his opponent, immediate opponent. No one will go near him.
I think Stan's had a bit of trouble working it out too.
Yeah.
Christopher Gowans, drop punt, looks okay from here. He splits the middle. And South Australia go further ahead. Slade brings it inboard. Chambers, been a good player for them. Kicks towards full forward. Bradshaw up at the back. Howard. And what's he done with it? He dribbled it forward. He's kicked the goal.
Byrne with the ball. Takes his time. He's got a player free. Running is Webster. Webster with possession now. Looks inside the 50. Loads it up. Kicks it in long. Great kick. And a good mark by Johnson, is it?
Yeah, Corey Johnson.
So Johnson will have a shot on goal from perhaps maybe 30, 35 metres out. Probably the best delivery of the day into the forward line, just about. Certainly up there. Here's Johnson. Kick accurate, straight over the goal umpire's little white hat. And a goal to WA, much needed.
Christopher Gowans kicks inside 50. WA up through Webster, couldn't hold the mark. And that's a free kick, although he backed into it. Bradshaw.
Very selfless player.
He actually hurt his shoulder last weekend, but he was very keen to play.
40 metres out, stabs at it and kicks it.
Inboard is the kick. Just doesn't find his man Maloney. Almost had another possession. Picked up quickly, belted forward by Beros. And fortuitously, really, I don't know if he actually meant that, but Fuster's taken the mark and he'll have an opportunity with the wind pretty much coming from over his back. Fuster lines it up, straight over the umpire's head. No worries, a goal to WA. Knocked down. Sampson roved it beautifully off the pack, almost got dacked, but in the end he's maintained his feet somehow, and I've tried to maintain composure because that was funny.
And he's still got his pants down around his knees.
And he managed to get the perfect disposal to Arnott. Arnott will have a shot now after the siren. And just casual as you like, goes back quickly, kicks it over the umpire's head, another goal. And South Australia have comprehensively beaten Western Australia, and even 10 goals in the end, 60 points the margin.
First of all, I'd like to thank the WA side for a competitive hit-out. I know you guys didn't train together overly long, but you actually seemed to play pretty well against us in the first half. Well done to our boys. Congratulations. Fantastic effort, boys. Well done.
In 2003, the margin between these two sides was 10 goals in favour of South Australia. It's considerably closer this time around, with WA just leading by 4 points at half-time. And down to Michael and Soda's on the boundary. Soda's, a few injury worries for South Australia.
Yeah, there's certainly one big one there with James Gowns coming off just late in the game of that second term with a calf actually on his left calf. So he's in a fair bit of trouble with that. And he did mention just as he was leaving the ground at half-time there that he could just about be out for this second half. Now, not good news for Central Districts. They've already got problems. His twin, Chris, was out of this game with a hamstring, and Jeremy Ofterhide heads to hospital on Monday for a full knee reconstruction. So news not good for Central Districts or South Australia there, Mike.
Certainly not, Mark, but the West Australians' door firmly closed at half-time. But Peter German would be very, very happy with the way things have been going, the tackling and the way they've gone about it in that particular quarter. In the first half, really, they've really been hard at the ball, and I think you'll see a continuation of that in this second half.
Well, Anthony Jones was certainly good for them early on, the West Australians, that is, Glenn, and they certainly looked like they came to play.
Well, they did. They squared the ball beautifully, and I think almost South Australia took a lesson from that in the second term when they were deep in the pockets at the northern end of the ground. Rather than doing the selfish thing, they're actually squaring the ball. But Jones there getting 2 goals in the space of a minute, and that really got Western Australia on the roll. But terrific performance in that second quarter, really, Andrew, for South Australia to kick 4 in a row, but equally as creditable to Western Australia to be able to rally and get the last 2 of the half and still have their noses in front.
Oh, absolutely. South Australia really put the blowtorch to them. They increased their intensity, they worked harder, and this was late in the quarter. See, Jones was active again. He turns the ball around the corner. Good work by Evan Hewitt just to work Archie off the ball. At this stage it ebbed and flowed, and there's probably the most influential person in the game, Jeremy Clayton. You can have stats in the game, you can have kicks and handballs. A lot of times they don't mean anything. He has generally been clean and used it well. And there we see Gowans finish off with a nice goal, who was once again also instrumental in bringing South Australia back in the game with 10 second quarter possessions.
Yes, they had that scoring drought, didn't they, from the 12-minute mark of the quarter, the second quarter that is, until the 27-minute mark. Western Australia failed to trouble the scorers. In fact, they barely got the ball inside 50 as South Australia seemingly was taking full control of this match.
And we saw Pickett kick an easy goal, and we'll get a replay here later of it. That's that learning curve that South Australia went. Inkster's able to centre that ball up. The kick just favoured Schill. It didn't really pinpoint him, it just really favoured him. And so they really controlled it. And here's the Pickett goal where they had space in their forward line. Because they hadn't been forward for so long, South Australia had controlled the play, plenty of space in the West Australian forward line, and Pickett read it better than any other player on the ground, kicked an easy goal. Jones worked it forward. Maguire just gets in the right position, loses power in a contest, kicks a goal, put Western Australia back in front.
And you mentioned Maguire with 2 goals, Anthony Jones with 3 for WA, and up forward for South Australia, almost a lone hand for a long time from Daniel Schell.
Yeah, absolutely. He was the one that stamped his authority on the game. You can see all the singles there with all the crumbing forwards, and the crummers, they're the players that will become important as the ground gets dewier in this second half.
And through those stats and the inside, well, the game's even, let's face it, it's very close, and the inside 50s have evened up, and I guess that reflects that South Australia had come back into the match in that second term.
Certainly controlled a long period of that second quarter after Western Australia dominated the first. Stats heavily in favour of Western Australia in the first quarter. Now South Australia have forced their way back into this game. Looking forward to a great second half here.
Yes, and Glenn Mitchell's going to have the first bounce.
Team just taking up position here to get this third quarter underway. Western Australia a 4-point lead, having led at quarter time by 13. State pride very much on the line. Umpires Williams, Feeler and Bandy in charge. As the ball is thrown up in the middle, Parry won it on the way down, opposed to Ames. Clayton under pressure, hand pass over the head of Kenner. Backwell is there. His hand pass to the skipper, Borlase, got it to Inkster. Blind term, hand pass back to Borlase. This could be a dream start. The skipper nails it on the run from just inside 50. He gets his second. And South Australia back in front, 20 seconds into that third term.
In each of the first 2 quarters, Western Australia, they really jumped out of the blocks and really put it to South Australia. For the first time, South Australia obviously have targeted the first goal of this third quarter. Just some slick hands in tight. Eventually, Borlase gets it. It was a quality finisher, finishes off nicely. South Australia assume the lead in this game.
With that passage of play, Borlase and Jeremy Clayton have each had 22 possessions.
So it's a third lead change we've had in this match since the 21-minute mark of the second quarter. And South Australia immediately through Inkster, goes to his right foot this time, Shell on the lead. And immediately South Australia hit after half-time. They've already had 1 goal and Daniel Shell on the lead, and now the mark and now the set shot will have an opportunity for another goal for South Australia.
Importantly, 2 centre breaks. They win the ball out of the middle twice. Inkster playing in front. Look, he was instrumental, just his forward line pressure, but also his opportunities in that second quarter brought South Australia back into the game.
Shell lays back, it'll just get there. So another goal for Daniel Shell. And he has been vital for the South Australians up forward.
With the loss of Nick Gill and also Brant Chambers, there was always going to be a heavy emphasis on Daniel Shell. Importantly there, he led up the centre corridor. Gives him a shot straight in front. You can see the Crummers, they created some space in that centre corridor. Goes back and finishes off with a goal. South Australia are now really putting it to Western Australia.
Ames for WA up against Parry again in the ruck for South Australia. High fair bounce, Ames wins it down. Opportunity there for Armstrong. Looked like he was taken high. The umpire sees it the same way. They're allowed the advantage. Clint Jones got it to Woden, who finds Anthony Jones, the captain. 3 first-half goals to Anthony Jones, including 2 in a minute. That opening term as he bombs it long towards the pocket. Out comes Maguire. Got hands to it, couldn't complete the mark. Chance in there for Powell. Hand passes to Borlase, the skipper. Hurried hand pass along the line, push in the back. All have gone out of play, but Theo Adams penalised for a push. Borlase the free kick.
He's come back on your line, mate.
Best and fairest with Norwood. Foss Williams medal last year against the VFL. Sparking them early in the third quarter, and a Shepherd called here against Jeremy Clayton. Eyes not for the ball according to the umpire, and Steve Armstrong has the free kick, and now for Verbeling, he's going to be dragged back. Well, this will bring Armstrong now to within goal-kicking range almost. 25-metre penalty, which is in vogue in the SANFL, and we're using those rules here in Adelaide tonight. Steve Armstrong on the West Coast Eagles rookie list, having played 43 games with Melbourne in the AFL. Currently back with his club of origin, Perth in the Waffle. He goes long, made pretty good contact. It'll land about 8 metres out. Ames with a big loop in front. Jones lays the tackle back there in defence, and it'll be balled up inside WA's attacking goal square.
South Australia kicked the first 2 goals of this third quarter. Jeremy Clayton, just an undisciplined attack. Interesting to see what Daryl Hart will do there. Did he take his gun midfielder off?
Ames now with a crucial role here. He taps it back into a dangerous area. Barros puts his head over the ball. Kenner was quick, and it comes loose. And a chance for Western Australia. And the poster from Pickett, who got the ball onto his right foot, is a natural left footer.
They hurriedly get the ball back into play, and the kick wide by Powell towards the outer wing. Ball now with Sheedy. Happening. Oh, it's a player down behind play in the goal square at the northern end, and they're calling for the stretcher for Eichner.
Knee, I would reckon.
Gee.
It's been good tonight too in a debut, 20-year-old, and a very good player. Has really stood up to this type of intensity and the tempo of the game tonight.
Barros off and Webb on for Western Australia. As we see nowadays, when there's ever a long break in play, all the respective Well, both teams are coming together in their respective huddles in the middle of the ground, but this is very unfortunate. Down deep in defence there for Eichner. Let's have a look at it. Stephen Eichner coming out there. Oh, yes. Beros's hip has gone right across the left knee. You can see it hyperextend there. Oh, that's not a good look at all. Well, totally accidental. Beros with eyes for the footy. Could have almost got a push in the back as a result, but Eichner has well and truly come out on the losing side of the ledger in that one.
That's not unlike the Richard Osborne one in the AFL going back a few years ago. That was a nasty look.
You should go back a fair way there, Michael. Richard Osborne.
Well, yeah, I am in my early 20s, so does it?
May have been a dislocation, perhaps.
I think a kneecap there. Looks like they clicked the kneecap back in. So, look, it may not be as bad as what expected if the kneecap's given way, but of course, if the ligaments, she's a full knee reconstruction. And look, that will hurt the Magpies in the SANFL. It's been a very good player in their back line with plenty of run out of there and been very disciplined.
Yes, Eichner's been an important ingredient for the Magpies, who sit on top of the SANFL with 6 wins and 1 loss. Port Adelaide, in contrast to their AFL brethren, they are winning in the SANFL.
Saw them at the airport today as I was coming in from Perth. Mark Williams and the boys were sitting in one of the cafes about to board their flight. So while they're going to be in action this weekend, I doubt that Stephen Eichner is going to see much more action, at least in the short term, and maybe the remainder of the season, sadly, as he's been stretched from the ground.
While Stephen Eichner's come off, Dean Howard's headed back onto the field. So now South Australia down to 20 men. And James Gowans here has got the ice on his left calf, which is the last thing you want in this temperature at the moment. And James Gowans just looked over and said, look, I'm not going to win the Foss Williams tonight. It's a bit of a shame.
Well, Andrew, given the way the modern game is played, a 2-man interchange bench for the best part of a half could be telling.
Could also be telling, but it also unbalances South Australia with Eichner be able to take a tall down the back end. All of a sudden, you might have to sacrifice a Mark Clayton or someone of similar ilk who's providing a good option up forward. Now would be the time for Peter German to push a ruckman forward, and that would really stretch South Australian defence.
The umpire's doing the right thing here. They're actually going to wait until the stretcher bearing Eichmann is actually in the race. This could be very dangerous if play was switched to this side of the ground near the boundary line.
And it is a very cramped race here at the Adelaide Oval. It's not easy to get a player on a stretcher down through the race. So
here it is again, a replay of it. Beros coming in right of screen, diving for the footy, and just taking the knee of Eichner there, and it really did bend, and you have to think that there is a fair bit of ligament damage there.
You would suspect it's a season-ending injury. A shame, because it's probably the pinnacle of his football career tonight, to play for your state at this level. He's been on a rookie list in the AFL. Unfortunately, wasn't deemed good enough to continue there. Comes back to the Magpies, having a great season, cemented his place in the side. Pinnacle of his career tonight, and just to end like that is very disappointing.
Now the shrapnel explodes, and or the grenade explodes, and shrapnel goes in all directions. There was a massive huddle. That was a big leap by Jones, way too early. The mark was taken by South Australia. Playing on, the kick was smothered there off the boot of Whiteman. Diving in on top of the footy there was North. It's held to him at the bottom of the pack, and we'll have a ball up. Just wonder how teams will regroup after that break. South Australia had the momentum. They kicked the first 2 goals in the quarter. They hit the front. The break probably the best part of 3 or 4 minutes there as Bandy wins the ball down. Opportunity for Kenner. Can't do anything with it. Woden over the footy for WA. We'll have another ball up.
And it has forced Daryl Hart to have a reshuffle. He's had to push Dean Howard back. As I said, great coaching by Peter German. Instantly pushes a ruckman forward.
Or one down by Thomas, but only as far as Woden. Kicks WA to the wing. McKenzie pushed past the ball. Kenner gets the hand pass out to Ball H, who's been very busy in this 3rd term. Kicks to right half forward. North at the back, but claiming the mark and paid in front. South Australia have it through Campbell. Thought North may have got hands on that. At the back, goes towards Shell. Was he pushed in the back? No whistle. At the back, Hayes works it across to Webb, who fell over. On the fall there, the hand pass comes from Parker to Armstrong. High up and under kick. Ball Ace in the action again.
Ball Ace can go short to Clayton. He does so on the edge of the 50 metres. Goes back to Campbell quickly, 1 step. The left footer drags it for the minor score. Campbell originally from Canberra, so he'd be well used to cool conditions, shall we say.
Well, start by Kane Hayes. Now he checks himself and goes wide to the Brownlow medalist. Woden chips it over the top, backpedaling Bandy. Takes the mark on the defensive 50 for WA.
Got to get busy, doesn't he, Daniel Bandy? He's an aerobic animal, can really run all day. Needs to really test Craig Parry aerobically and run around the ground, get himself involved.
If he can go into transition in attack, he can be very dangerous. He kicked a lot of goals for Claremont this year. Offhand, South Australia have it. A bouncing run there by Inkster. Inside 50 with the left boot across the face. It could be dangerous for South Australia. WA could rebound through North. He's got a couple of players towards the wing. He opts to go inboard by hand to Bandy, who now swings it out wide, and Rutherford marks it left half back. Hand passes to Woden, being corralled near the boundary line. Kicks it up, dangerous delivery there. Awkward for Parker, and Thomas over the top easily puts it out of play on the wing.
You just question Rutherford's handball there. Gives it outside to Woden. The only place he can go is down that line. At least if he looks back into the middle, he can actually create something, and the way West Australia want to play, bring it back through the centre corridor.
Holding the ball there, Jones will be given the free kick. It'll come back, and Kenner had broken away, and Jones blindsided Kenner. Didn't realise he was there. Now Jones, the captain, goes long and high. Ames comes across the front. Powell with the crumbs for South Australia. Hand passes, finds Kenner. Kenner overruns the ball. Clint Jones in there, and his namesake Anthony Jones was there as well. The ball somehow was plucked out of there and sent forward. Thomas with a quick hand pass. Powell, McKenzie, now Sheedy to break from the back. Jake Sheedy gets around one, drives the centre half forward, goes for Shell. At the back was Clayton, couldn't take the mark. Western Australia with possession, albeit briefly. They just can't clear their area. Mark Clayton overran the ball. Still it's in dispute at centre half forward for South Australia. And wait on the umpire. And umpire Richard Williams says 50-50, boys, give it to me.
He's a competitor, Mark Clayton. He's going to give you everything at centre half forward. He'll compete in the air, but when the ball hits the ground, it's when he's at his best. He's going to be heavily involved.
Inkster just through traffic. The hand pass was loose. It was picked up by Webb, who cleared it to this side of the ground. Jones. One pull was enough to keep it in his favour. Jones looks now and surrounded, taken down by Clayton. The hand pass was loose. South Australia look to turn it over. It comes to Woden. He gets it to half forward. Howard will be first to it, and he'll take an easy chest mark.
Howard now has Parry free at centre half back. He slides, doesn't take the mark. Now he's in a bit of trouble. Slings the hand pass to Archie in the centre square. He goes out wider still. Powell on a bouncing run towards the outer wing. Crosses it, untidy looking left foot disposal. Campbell has time and space at half forward. Hand passes to Mark Clayton. Tried to fend away Parker. Loses the footing. Kane Hayes, almost a throw. Rumble then tidies up by hand to Parker to North, and he chips it out wide to Bandy. The telescopic arms raining it in from overhead. Scoring's dried up momentarily as the kick goes to the outer wing. Big leap, Keevers. Ben Keevers, not renowned for his aerial work, takes the mark just forward of right half back for WA. Halfway through this third term, an 8-point margin. Chips it short to Ames. Ames has Hayes screaming for it back in the centre circles, but he goes up towards right half forward. It was intended for Jones, chopped off by Parry, who plays on out wide. Archie and the boundary line to beat, along with Ames. Hand passes infield. Keever sets a little screen in there for Pickett. Pickett shovels the ball forward to Bandy, now to Webb. Webb on in turn to the long kicking Hayes with the left boot. He measures the kick to half forward. Back in defence. Fisher drops the mark. Clint Jones goes to an unguarded goal square. The bounce is telling. There's a bounce through for a goal almost. Batted down, has gone through. It cleared the line. Freakish goal there by Jones. The ball almost bouncing at a right angle, and it brings up WA's first goal of the third quarter, 14 minutes in.
It's about to comment how important the next goal is going to be, and Jones has just made something out of nothing here. Just gets it forward, see it bouncing around, and eventually it just works its way around. Not too much that Dean Howard would do about that, but sometimes luck plays a big part in football. West Australia have really this arm wrestle going on at the moment between half-back lines. They've made something out of nothing.
2 points the margin. Umpire Bandy thumps the ball into that, what must be a rock-hard surface there. towed forward by Woden. Well, it looked like Webb was taken out of the play. It comes to South Australian half-back in Whiteman, down to Inkster. Inkster looks up, waits for the lead. Clayton's at full forward at the moment. He goes for Shell on the lead. Took a good... No, he didn't take a good mark. Kept it in front, though. Daniel Shell goes outside 50. Inkster, a left footer, gets around on his left leg, goes long for Clayton. Clayton does well, makes a contest. Crum down. Western Australia with a number over the ball. Jones, and now they move it from the back to the song. Comes to centre wing looking for Anthony Jones. Mackenzie's with him. Mackenzie hooks the ball away from him and out of bounds on centre wing, just in front of our boundary riders in Sodas and Michael Maney.
And I can tell you, Neil, just in the last quarter or so, the temperature has dropped here. It's getting very chilly and the ball's a lot slipperier and more dew on the pitch.
Saw a moment ago, too, WA making a change. Chris Maguire, the full forward, coming off. He has 2 goals, replaced by Newick. This is Fisher hooking it inside 50. Hayden Parker going back. Clever little deft tap to Woden. To Hayden North, sweating on him, Clayton. Back to Parker. Parker, clever kick off the outside of the boot. Rutherford in space. Bounces into the centre square from half-back. Now from just behind the circles. Kicks up towards half-forward. Hayes was expecting more carry in the kick. It fell short and was marked by Whiteman. Whiteman now with no one behind him. Kicks out wide and presenting himself well out there is Gallagher. Gallagher just behind the outer wing. WA flooding back in defence at the moment. Not a lot of movement up forward, so Gallagher goes for as much distance as he can down along the line. Shell the target. Well, he paid that, he did. He got first and second bites. The attempted score by Rumble ineffective. Shell too far out to score his 5th. He set something up. He comes backwards to Fisher. The late replacement for Hughes. Fisher plays on. Up towards half-forward in front. Adams over his head. At the back, Mark Clayton. Hand passes to Jeremy Clayton and he misses. To the right-hand side from 30 metres on the run.
There's a problem for South Australia, you see there. Is it Shell leads out wide. They really haven't got a tall target to go to. Next tall is Mark Clayton, who's only realistically a magpie 6-footer. They really struggle for a tall target. It's okay if you can get it in one-on-one. When it's too slow and you're creating 3-on-3, 4-on-4s, you're never going to take a mark at that stage.
Yeah, boys, Peter German from the WA coach is looking at a mismatch with Luke Powell on Newick, and they've also got a mismatch with Ames playing on Howard. So they're looking at a bit of height, someone to take a mark up there.
Trouble is they can't get it down there at the moment. Backwell gets it forward. Clayton gets another shot at goal and the same result. Away to the right. That's his 3rd behind.
He's had his opportunities, but he hasn't been able to thread one. Hayes short down the middle. Theo Adams with the mark. He comes across half-back. The target here is Bandy. Bandy can go over the top if he wants to Woden, but opts to go into the middle of the ground. Pickett, not good delivery to him. The opposite number 1, Kenner gets it, hacks it across the body. In defence though, Basong. Hurried kick out wide, and on the dewy surface the ball slides and eludes Bandy over the boundary line on the broadcast wing.
Daniel Bandy's decision there to go back into the middle with a poor kick to a 50-50. Very lucky to get away with that.
Harry doing well against Bandy. Backwell in a crowd, got a kick away out on the full. Is it? No, just touched before it was over that boundary line. Clint Jones there, getting up. Looked like he was struggling just a little bit. So Harry at the front, Bandy behind. Parry palms it down. Just the toe poke forward now. Play on calls the umpire. Still in dispute. And still they go, and still no result. And now it's holding the ball. Gallagher was the man caught under there. He just took possession according to the umpire, and Clint Jones was over him with the tackle. Squares it, and WA just looking for a little bit of run at the moment. They're not finding any. Rutherford comes back down the line and immediately turns over the ball. The mark taken by Fisher, and Fisher takes his time as the WA players flood back. Fisher just opts to go long, looking for Shell in the middle of the pack, just couldn't pull it down. To the back it goes, and again Parker with an opportunity. Hand pass They share it at the back. They almost turn it over again. In fact, the pressure there was great from South Australia. But Song tried to stand up in the tackle, was stripped of the ball. Clayton got a hand pass out, it was loose. And finally, WA will clear their defensive 50.
And the kick comes from Hayes out wide. The mark taken by Woden. He's got Webb running forward of the play. Can he gather the bouncing ball? He can. 60 out and closing. Chips into the pocket. Oh, he conceded the lead on that occasion. Hewitt, he propped, allowed Archie in front. Dangerously back into the corridor. Campbell couldn't mark. Jones has the ball held to him. Will have a ball up. Gee, dangerous there, Archie, kicking it back into the corridor.
Especially if a player can't play him. But the West Australians, as they went forward, doing Evan Hewitt obviously doesn't play with that teammate, led out and then ducked back. Unfortunately, having enough training time together, you don't actually gel together, and he didn't really realise what Evan Hewitt was trying to do.
Chance for South Australia to clear. Thomas, hand passes out wide. Mackenzie in a circle, gets it back then towards Powell. Powell, a high kick to the middle of the ground. Hayes in front, slips off his chest. Armstrong just slipped back on to replace Bandy. He hand passes WA to North. North hand passes knocked down. That allows South Australia in. Good tackle by Armstrong. And he's done enough to force a neutral ball. Very strong tackle on Gallagher. And a ball up right in front of our commentary box, which is normally the home rooms for South Australia or the Australian Test team. Beautiful view across towards the Victor Richardson gates. From the bounce, Ruckman more interested in each other than the ball. Rutherford, clever little toe poke to Clint Jones. High kick, awkward delivery. Back with courage by Woden. Made a contest, fell in favour of Armstrong. He's got Pickett in the pocket, goes further afield, and Hewitt on the stretch takes the mark. And Hewitt well within range.
Full credit to Shane Woden there. Went with the flight of the footy against Stephen Kenner. Just created the contrast. Great way to kick there. Evan Hewitt once again led off his leg. You see here he's led off to the right, makes it a much harder kick. And not too much that Corey Archie can do about that.
It's the first mark WA have taken inside 56 the first quarter.
Evan Hewitt, who had a stint with Norwood. He led South Fremantle's goal kicking last year. We're right behind the kick. And he pushes it left for a behind.
But O'Hara waiting his opportunity to come on the ground as Thomas brings it back in for South Australia. Good kick, Mackenzie with the mark.
Let it go, thank you.
He's outside 50, Mackenzie, just waiting. Nothing much on offer in terms of loose players. He can't switch the ball, so he's got to go down the line looking for O'Hara. And O'Hara leaps from behind, knocks it away from Ames. Now it's Parker, down to Woden, and then down the line with the kick. Webster finished with it.
You're on the mark, Dan.
Or Webb, I should say. Webb finished with it and just over the top. Jones has had plenty of the ball. Goes into the forward pocket with the kick. And Hewitt takes a nice grab, but he's on a very, very difficult angle. Looking back for a lead maybe in the centre. Nobody available.
Half a metre back. That's it. Wait for my call, though.
Just needs to sink this through there. He's a natural right footer on his preferred side. Just run out, took it around. As a kid, he would have done this many times.
Maybe not under this much pressure, and perhaps that's the reason he missed by a long way.
Probably should have done it more times as a kid, shouldn't he?
Behinds in as many attempts there for Hewitt.
Thank you.
Howard restarts play to ball ace by hand to Archie. Clears a defensive 50 with a raking drop punt to the outer side. Campbell deftly nudged under it by North, who gathers the ball in his wake, steps around Campbell, backs himself on the dewy surface, takes a bounce, accelerates away, goes to half forward, Ames on the lead, good mark, attacked the footy vigorously overhead. Talon Ames, 65 out, when he squares it intended for Webb, back with the flight was O'Hara. Here's Armstrong, trying to play for the free kick, gathers the footy, taken down by Thomas, ball jars free, Powell, got it off somehow to O'Hara, on in turn to Thomas, high kick comes across towards Parry, uses the body well, Parker had hold of the jumper, ball near the boundary line, has gone out. Well, it went out first of all off back, or before it went out off the shin of Salicic, so not a boundary throw-in, sorry, a boundary throw-in rather than out of bounds on the full.
Darryl. Game of centimetres, isn't it? I think
Hayes it was, I said Salicic Hayes came in there.
I'm not 100% sure it didn't go into the turf before it went out off his foot anyway. South Australia working hard, but well done by Woden. Now They turn the ball over. Inkster did well. Ball ace vision, not perfect, just couldn't execute properly. Rumble overran the ball, opposed to Shell. Coming through brilliantly was Inkster. Got it back to Gallagher. Gallagher pokes the ball forward. He wants some mark, and brilliantly done. The knock away from Rutherford, forcing the minor score.
Tim Inkster just involved in that play. Daryl Hart's pushed him deep into full forward with Mark Clayton coming off the ground for a spell.
Gee, North made a mess of that, but he had plenty of time to recover, having spilt the mark. He goes out wide in front. Inkster couldn't mark wide in front and centre. Crumbs kicks powerfully up towards half forward. Howard lurking at the back. Should be able to tidy up for the Crow Eaters from his defensive 50. Conceded ground, now hooks it out wide, and it bounces out of play for a throw-in. Shane Barros wanting deliberate, the umpire having none of it. Have a look at that for a build. Short, close to the ground, but very nuggety. Very solid player.
So Shane Woden, 11 possessions this quarter, 23 for the game. Hayden North has had 24 for WA.
Silvo Woden doing his best to lift the troops. O'Hara wins it down. Opportunity here. Socket off the ground by Western Australia's Salisic. Tidied up though by South Australia. The kick comes across the half-back line. Thomas leading Armstrong to the contest. Back onto his right boot. Measures the kick, looking for Backwell. Nudged to the contest by Rutherford. Backwell couldn't gather. Is he taken out of play? Eventually it dribbles out. And a boundary throw-in on the members' wing.
Paul Thomas, 2 years ago, Magarey medalist, 8 games with Essendon last season. Dropped off their list. Welcomed back by Central District in the SANFL competition. Now a ball in tight again. Over it briefly was Crabb. South Australia scramble the ball up to half forward. Now it'll come to Campbell, and Campbell can drop it in. A question of accuracy with the kick, and he missed his target in Shell, who had a yard or two on Rumble. And they get it out over the boundary line defensively, Western Australia. It's Hayes just showing the after effects of Campbell coming behind and putting a knee right between the 1 and the 8. Ball thrown back in at half forward for South Australia. Nicely done by Armstrong, coming through the pack. The 1-2 on his wrong side. Now he's taking his time, surround. Oh boy, that was a little bit of Larry stuff in the end. That wasn't a bit of Larry stuff. And the ball out over the boundary line from Crabb. And South Australia pushing forward late in the third term and leading by 3 points.
Important closing stages to this quarter as Thomas goes as deep as he can. Armstrong, the target was Shell, but he flew third in line and has taken the mark. Stephen Armstrong desperate to get back into AFL footy. He's guarded by Melbourne. He's on the Eagles AFL rookie list. He's played pretty well tonight. Kicks it high, not too sure who he's aiming for. Newing comes to the contest. Off hands, G North went without it. Now Kenner under pressure near the boundary line. Another throw in.
Bryce Campbell's just come off the ground for South Australia. He's got a cut under the chin. He's gone straight down to the change rooms. He'll get that stitched up. Benny Warren, who struggled for South Adelaide the past couple of weeks, just with 3 goals, has come back onto full forward.
Peter German's rested his gun midfielder Shane Woden, having a spell on the bench for a big last quarter.
Thomas under pressure, fends away Piggott. Could almost be penalised for holding it. He will be. You can't fend a player away. You've got to make your option to get rid of the ball, and rightly penalised. And Alistair Piggott, the dual Sandover medalist, didn't play WAFL footy till he was 26. He's won 2 Sandovers since then as he chips it short to Theo Adams. Adams has got a player, his South Fremantle teammate North, free in the middle of the ground. O'Hara couldn't get there in time to spoil. Now they go out wide to a renowned defender, Aidan Parker. What's he like with goal kicking skills? From 55 out, goes long to the top of the goal square. Kane Hayes there, Mackenzie the good fit. Crabb front and centre, couldn't gather. Gallagher is in there, brilliantly tackled by Crabb, taken to ground, ball up.
You'd just like to see West Australia try to create some space, bring it back from the goal, try to just block for someone to create some space back away from goal so they're facing it.
Ticking over to 29 minutes, late in the quarter. And Sheedy will get possession, pulled off the ball and pulled off his kick. And almost a mark there in front to Gallagher. Now he gathers back to Thomas. Has a look. Thomas decides to hand pass wide to Kenner. He's a left footer, so he's crowded on his kick. Down towards Warren. Over the back was Ball-Ace. Will soccer off the ground. And the ball was partially blocked. The song will come across. Did he keep it in? No, he won't. It was nicely done by Keevers, because Ball-Ace was going to soccer that ball inside that dangerous area inside 50. Woden waiting to come back on. He's had his rest.
I predicted that
back on. So Armstrong with a loose hand pass over the top, and eventually out of bounds again. And the call from the crowd thought maybe it was out on the foot.
And Webb the man to come off to allow Woden on. Theo Adams getting away with that one. Driving it towards the line. There's Woden. Barking instructions. Boundary throw in. O'Hara from the back won it down. High kick by Sheedy towards centre half forward. Off hands. Unable to gather the ball in there was Inkster. Now the diminutive Kenner running it towards the outer side. Gathers in advance of Hayes. Too much pace. Goes deep towards left full forward. On the lead down there was fisted away from the South Australian player on the lead, Warren. Haven't seen a lot of him tonight. Woden kicks into the body of Fisher. Ball spills back to Kenner across the body to full forward. Off hands opportunity at the back for Backwell. Taken down legally, says the umpire, and eventually it trickles out of play. A WA player slow to get up. Back in the corridor, might be Rutherford, I think. It is. He's feeling the after effects of putting his body on the line with courage.
Met by Borlase coming back with the ball. Now, Woden slips a hand pass to Armstrong, gets it outside defensive 50, but at the wall, if you like, the old-fashioned wall was set up by South Australia. Now the chip inside 50 was dangerous, punched away, comes back to South Australia again, and they can chip wide for Clayton, or is it Kenner? It's the latter.
Strange quarter, it's in its 32nd minute, only 3 goals, but of course Eichner was stretched it off, and that took up about 4 minutes while we're so deep into time on.
Well, that and the fact, I guess, so many stoppages in the quarter as players crowd around the ball, and of course every time the umpire crosses his arms for a bounce, the clock stops. So here's Stephen Kenner. Started at Mount Gravatt in Brisbane via Carlton, and then to South Adelaide, lines up and is narrow with the kick. So 3/4 time in this match, and South Australia just in front, 9-12-66, Western Australia 9-8-62, 4 points the margin at 3/4 time.
There a prompt opening of the quarter where South Australia kicked the first 2 goals in the first 3 minutes. Goals really dried up from then on, and Western Australia able to work their way back into the game. We're going to look at some of the 3/4 time highlights. Borlase was instrumental. This was early in the quarter, just an easy give there to Fisher. Just draws a player. This was very early in the 3rd quarter, and South Australia, that goal put them in front. They were able to get it, and this is straight from the rebounds again. Inkster, who's been good all night, just as able to pinpoint a pass to Shell on a straight lead up the middle. He went back and kicked the goal, and at this stage I thought South Australia had really assumed ascendancy in this game. Western Australia really needed to respond, and they did. They worked hard, they bottled the game up, and eventually they worked the ball forward, and it was a lucky goal of sorts by Jones, and you can see a lucky bounce, but sometimes you need that luck in football. Unfortunately for Dean Howard, he couldn't get it. You can see the goal kickers after everything dried up in that corner. Shell has been instrumental up forward with 4, Borlase with 2, and for Western Australia, Jones has been really good at half forward and a great duel with McKenzie and Maguire with 2. The rest are all singles.
Well, we've had scoring spurts and then things have dried up, and the stats tell us that everything's pretty even.
It does. You look at that, and even Western Australia fought their way back into the game there. Inside 50s really favour South Australia. They haven't really had a target other than Shell or a genuine centre-half forward, and that is really hurting them.
There's Ashley Prescott, a former Fremantle and Richmond player, coaching Claremont in the WAFL, one of the assistants. Looks like he's working with the forwards at the moment. Anthony Jones on the right. In the background there is Peter German, the head coach for WA. But plenty of coaching experience in the support crew here for Peter German. And as is the trend nowadays, the individual huddles are spoken to, backs, forwards and the midfielders, and now they'll all come together. Stephen Armstrong played a very good game tonight, and he's got a burning passion to get back to AFL level. Let's have a listen to Peter German, the WA head coach.
Cross half-backs that quarter. All right. Ball handling's going to be really important, Northie. Okay, ball handling, Chris Basong is going to be really important. Okay, Chris. Twice got the ball, tried to take him on, lost the ball. Okay, that's what they're relying on. We know that. So every time you fumble, every time you do a bodgy kick, it's going to hurt us back the other way, okay? So we've just got to make sure that we simplify our game now as much as we can. We still won't run from behind. We still need to make sure that we manufacture some good run through the line. But the thing is now, where's the ball? Turn it around, the other way. Okay? I don't want to see us getting the ball here and sort of going into there, all right? The only way that we come back inboard or even across half back is to someone who can play on. Otherwise, we keep going long and get front and square to the contest. From there, we go into there, we get front and square to the contest, okay? Unless someone is free, I don't want us to really start chipping the ball around. Again, from the back half, I don't want too much handball. When we get it, it's important. There was, I don't know who it was in the end there. You know, I think it might have been you, Magsy. We got the ball, mate, he's a left footer out here, and you're leading up here. Okay, got to lead into their vision. Really important now forward.
Michael Maney, you've been listening to what are very set instructions by the WA coach Peter German.
Look, they're pretty well drilled, Neil and Glenn. They're going pretty well. Peter German's pretty happy with them. As you can hear him say, run, run, run. And I think when you look at the South Australian bench, there's a couple of guys down there, so that could be important when it comes to the end of this, getting close to the end of this game. He did rest Shane Woden toward the end of that particular term, just for a few minutes, just to get him right. So all things going well in the WA camp. Mark Soderstrom, I know that you've been over with the South Australians. What did Daryl Hart have to say?
Well, certainly the big news for South Australia is the loss of Stephen Eichner with that knee injury. Now, his knee was dislocated. The medical staff were able to get that back into place, but he has gone to hospital at the moment, so he's just getting the ligaments checked out. So don't really know how bad that is at this moment. So for South Australia's sake, and certainly for the Port Magpies' sake, we hope that he is okay. The other injuries, of course, James Gowans, he's gone with a calf strain. And also Bryce Campbell has just come off the ground and had his chin stitched up, so he's okay. He's a tough nut, the little Norwood boy, so no doubt about him coming back on the ground. He's in great form too, 39 possessions last week against North Adelaide. Now, Daryl Hart's persisting with a small forward line in this last term. His instructions to the midfield was to get it in quick, get it in low, and we'll be able to kick some goals there.
Thanks for that, Sodas. Scott Ball-Ace, the captain of South Australia, very important in this final quarter, and he's been important all night.
He has. He's been a three-quarter player so far, and he'd be keen to finish it off. He's made some good decisions. He's generally used the ball well, finished off with some goals, and so he's been important. And along with Jeremy Clayton have really ignited this SA midfield.
Still a tough game, isn't it? It's anybody's game. It's a bit dewy. It's going to ask for a real commitment from one side or the other to get across the line.
I like the way Peter German went about it then. It was a no-nonsense style. Look, it is dewy, so we've got to treat it like a wet game. They have an advantage in the air.
Phil Lamb is chairman of selectors for WA. He's with Michael Maney.
Yeah, Phil, Peter German, it's pretty close. What is his thoughts at three-quarter time there?
Well, it just gets back to beating your opponent. I mean, we're within striking distance, and we've just got to get first possession out of the middle. We let them drop off on a few occasions in that quarter, and they're good enough to take advantage of it. So it's got to be man on man all the way to the final siren.
And just quickly, can you stretch them on the bench? They've only got a couple left there.
Well, that's what we're trying to do. We've still got a full bench, so that's our aim, to stretch them and finish them off.
Okay, boys, up to you, Glenn, for the last quarter.
These two teams have met 88 previous times, 44 wins apiece, and it's a 4-point margin at three-quarter time in favour of South Australia. A half an hour of football ahead of us. Ames went too early. O'Hara couldn't trap it on the ground. Adams kicks off the side of the boot for WA. Out towards right half forward. Pickett beaten to the ball there by Whiteman, who is held by Salicic, and the free kick will come back to Whiteman. That left half back.
Glenn, with the scores pretty close, obviously 4 points the difference. If the game is a draw, of course it stands as a draw. There's no extra time played tonight.
That'll be a nice way to finish. 44.5 wins each. The kick by Whiteman up towards left half forward through the hands of Woden. Ames got bobbed. Does well from his backside. Rutherford shrugs a high tackle from Ball-Ace. He'll get the free kick at right half back. Clancy Rutherford, who started the game on the bench. Former West Coast Eagles rookie listed player. Claremont Football Club kicks towards the wing. Bandy, telescopic arms again. It's a hard man to match up on. Now he's got Basong, who's run off half back. Hill marked on the outermost centre circle. Plays on immediately. He's on his, in fact it's Rumble, not Basong. He's on his non-preferred. Bandy, a party trick mark. Hand pass to Salicic. Hasn't been on the ground a lot tonight. Goes long to full forward, and it'll pitch and bounce wide of Hewitt on the lead and out for a boundary throw in.
Bryce Campbell just about to head back onto the ground. He's on now with that chin all patched up. Benny Warren off the ground, so South Australia again shorter up forward.
Why? I guess they asked for long and low into that forward line for South Australia. That was Daryl Hart's message. Webb over the ball. In tight, gave it up to Whiteman. Whiteman perhaps taken high, handball down the line. Umpire said yes, that's okay. So in front of the Bradman stand here at the Adelaide Oval.
Top ball gets to 3/4 time for South Australia. Ball ace 27, Jeremy Clayton 26, and Campbell 20 for WA, Hayden North 25, Shane Woden 24, Stephen Armstrong 19.
And 5,034 people have braved the cold this evening to watch the match.
Well, South Australians will be hoping they don't go unhappy at the end of the night. Ball ace was in there, had it briefly. Now it's rolled back in under him. Umpire calls it straight away and says, I'll bounce it. The West Australian umpire in Bandy, Greg Bandy, about to throw the ball into the turf again. It has moved in the last, what, 30 or 40 seconds? Maybe a minute and a half. It goes so quick. Here's Thomas on half-back. Centre wing, he looks for back all over his head. Well judged by Rutherford at the back.
Fancy Rutherford. You go down along the line. In fact, squares a little bit more in towards centre half forward. A lot of fists in the air. No one can knock it down. Hand pass by Inkster. Back in defence at the moment. He gathered that to Backwell, to Thomas. Thomas kicks then towards the lumbering Parry on the lead. The pack collapses. Staying upright at the back is Gallagher. Gallagher, awkward delivery to a leading Shell. The Song can tidy up. All on his own at the back. Comes to a halt. Hand passes down to Aidan Parker. Parker sweeps the hand pass out wide. Bandy, the big man, bends down, gathers off his bootlaces, then pulls the kick with Shell approaching, and he's penalised for holding the ball. Ball ace plays on immediately, centering kick, and this could be a goal-scoring opportunity. It's interesting, I thought Bandy was actually in the process of hand passing that ball when he was tackled. The umpire saw it differently, and now an opportunity for Dean Howard, who has been pretty quiet tonight. And limping from the ground is Hayden North. So that will bolster South Australia's prospects. They've got a two-man bench. At the moment, WA have three fit players, with North limping along the boundary line. Howard goes long to the scoreboard end, and he gets the opening goal of the last term.
And the opening goal was always going to be vital important in this contest. It now creeps out to a 10-point margin. Western Australia now need to react and do something. Here's Bandy, just a comical error. He just need to keep himself mobile then. Attempted to handball, but certainly missed. You can see his frustrations, he lashes out. And just smart play to move the ball quickly to Dean Howard, who's just struggled tonight in an unfamiliar role to him.
Maybe struggled with the cold a bit. He was originally a Queenslander from Broadbeach on the Gold Coast to West Adelaide, I should say, and then to North Adelaide this season. So 10 points the margin. South Australia through ball ace over to Kenner. Don't know if it was actually meant, but Kenner is trapped in the tackle of Ames and will get a ball up. Ames just sneaks in front. Down at Kmart. Unlucky was Inkster, and he was held in the tackle. Well, he was about to kick it and then thought no.
Greg Bandy's going to bounce the ball. Our South Australian audience might be aware that his brother David Bandy made his Sheffield Shield debut last summer for Western Australia, a very talented sporting family.
Slapped forward by Backwell, a backhander. Now it comes wide to Kivas off his left foot. Poor kick out of bounds, and some spectators may be saying that was deliberate. I don't think so, though. I don't think you can count that.
10-point margin. Crowd rugged up against the cold. The temperature down in single digits.
The kid, though, was eating ice cream.
Oh, well, when you're that age, you're impervious to cold weather, especially if you're offered an ice cream. Woden with strength. Got it by hand to Webb. Webb out to Ames. The kick carried too far at the back. It's been marked by Howard. Plays on. Spears it in towards half forward. Marked by Fisher. Lays it on by hand then to a teammate. Ball lays. Kicks inside 50. Shell the target. Sport by Rumble. Foot race on towards the boundary line. A couple fall over. Campbell doesn't. His kick is very wide. Drifting towards the pocket. Was that a push in the back? Harry nudged forward. No whistle. Parker with strength in the tackle. It's a hand pass to Kivas. Kivas towards Hayes. Drops the mark. Got Woden there in support. Doubles it back to him. Hayes a long drop punt up towards the lead of Hewitt, taken under the footy. At the back, Lightman can tidy up from the defensive 50. Cross the body. Didn't do a very good job. Intercepted there by Hewitt. Square and kick to half forward. Bandy can't trap the bouncing ball cleanly. Now he dives in over the top of it and does it in a crude fashion. Has given away the free kick. They need to be careful. I'll turn it over here. Howard should just take it easy because the kick is with Thomas for South Australia.
Thomas just drops it out wide to Fisher. Fisher down the line looking for Backwell, flying against a taller opponent in Hayes. Now Hayes an opportunity to pick it up, ball on the ground, so Backwell and Kenner back in their element. Backwell's given away a free kick, has he? No. Well, I just thought maybe he grabbed Woden a bit high. Certainly Shane Woden, no after effects. O'Hara just belts it forward. Woden will go to his left leg and the boundary, and I think it might have been out on the full. And it was. So South Australia will get a chance, or will they? Wait on. Yes, they will. It's just a question of who takes the free kick. It's Fisher.
Not smart play by Woden there. He realised he was going to get pushed. Didn't really need to kick that. Probably should have taken the tackle and either handball down the line or just taken the tackle and force another ball up.
Adam Fisher told to play on. He goes long looking for Campbell. Big leap there from the defence. Knocking it down was Basong and roving well in front. The kick goes forward from Inkster. It's gone out of bounds on the full.
Yeah, boys, North down here has got a huge bit of strapping on that left thigh. Have a look at that. He's really strapped up like an Egyptian mummy there at the moment, the top half of that thigh.
I think he'll be back on tonight. Now Kane Hayes, heels on the boundary line almost, has the ball at right full back for WA, who trail by 10 points. The only score of this last quarter, a goal to WA, to South Australia, I should say. Shell might get another one. He wriggles out of the tackle, thought about taking the advantage and then could feel pressure on his back from Rumble and stopped. So he did well there, and now he should be able to slot his fifth. And in what should be a low-scoring game, with 18 goals kicked to three-quarter time in aggregate, a lead of 16 points could be telling.
Peter German at three-quarter time emphasised not to bring the ball back into the middle unless you can play on Finch. Unfortunately, Kane Hayes decided to bring it back in there. Will pay a very heavy penalty.
Shell gets his fifth and gives his team a 16-point lead 9 minutes into the last term.
And with goals at a premium, you might almost say that one more for South Australia might just get them over the line in this game. And here's Hayes in the back out. He's just chipped that forward to a 50-50 contest. Shell gets a left arm too high. Goes back and kicks the goal. They've opened up a nice 16-point margin. Western Australia now need to respond. They're better players. Woden need to get their hands on the footy. Woden, Daniel Bandy, those type of players. They played at a high level. They need to stand up.
Daniel Shell, 5 goals, 1 tonight. Been a star up forward for South Australia. Woden attacking the ball, couldn't take it. Fisher over it, slipped between his legs. Now it comes back to Clint Jones, scrambles the ball 20-30 metres forward. Maguire had sighted him virtually since the first quarter. Nicely slipped a hand pass away to Pickett and hits the post. Second time that he's hit the post tonight.
Did well to get it out of the middle. Once again, Maguire's attack on the footy's been great tonight. He's led his opponent to the ball at every occasion.
Turnover here, the ball chopped off by Salicic. WA need a goal from this forward thrust. Slipping in front, Armstrong couldn't take the one-handed mark. Look away, hand pass by Pickett to his skipper. No one wants to tackle Anthony Jones, so he goes long from 52 metres and won't have the carry. Lands in the heart of the goal square. Archie tackle, still a chance in there for Pickett. Powell over the footy, Pickett wriggles out the back and kicks a miraculous goal. His second of the night, and it keeps WA in the contest.
And he does exactly that, Kevin. They looked as though they were really struggling. They were able to just work that forward. They cleared the zone, and Pickett, who's looked dangerous all night, it just becomes a scramble, but it's in a dangerous position. Western Australia win the contest there, and they do through Pickett. Eventually spills out the back, just toe pokes it with his right foot, finishes off nicely, breathes some life back into this contest.
Coach Peter German, a lot of faith in Alastair Pickett. He's coached him for both his Sandover medals. Of course, he's won them at 2 different clubs, at Peel Thunder in 2002 and Subiaco in 2004.
7 kicks and 6 handballs tonight.
Aims up and down before the ball had arrived. Fisher working hard and over the ball with his Glenelg teammate there in Backwell. We'll get another ball up. Daryl Hart and his South Australian crew. Hardy looks, well, relatively calm. Jeremy Clayton trying to be third man up. Unlikely third man up, I would have thought. Didn't get anywhere. Howard off the ground, socketed it wide, heading towards the interchange bench. And straight over the line.
Just percentage play now becomes really important. Dean Howard, look, that's okay. Just sock the ball. Peter German really emphasised it at three-quarter time. Look, kick it down the line, kick it 50 metres, we'll start again, we'll get our crummers front and centre. South Australia have a different mentality. They're going to try to use the footy in these conditions. You need to be clean.
Woden to Webb, back to Woden on his left boot. Well-weighted kick, Rudolph marks. The South Australian down behind play. The kick goes along the boundary line. The mark taken by Armstrong is Jeremy Clayton. He might have just been winded a moment ago. Armstrong with the footy. Kicks WA inside their attacking 50. Anthony Jones the target. A lot of players in the vicinity. Rudolph swings a hand pass over the top. Salicic knocks it down. Follows up his own work. Tackle was even not in possession. No whistle. Looked like Thomas was being grabbed from behind by Pickett when he didn't have it. And in the end, the boundary umpire called into play.
Well, any time you see Jeremy Clayton go down, you start to worry about him. He ruptured his spleen in the final series last year. It took until after Christmas to recover.
Boundary throw in. O'Hara wins it down. Howard slaps it along the turf. Hand pass comes to Gallagher, or to Sheedy it was. Goes back in for it again, Sheedy. Turned into the tackle. We'll have a ball up on WA's attacking 50.
Has dried up though, Jeremy Clayton, after initial spurt in the first half. Possessions in the second half have become very few and far between.
22 in the first half, 5 in the second half. None this quarter.
It's about the halfway mark of this final quarter. South Australia by 9 points. Howard stood up well. The decision was good in the end to go to Sheedy down to half forward. Nice kick, Parry leading out, took the mark. Can go across to Backwell, decides against it, instead goes long for Shell. Rumbles right on him, comes over the top, knocks it away. Bandy with the crumb, 2-on-1. Made it easy for Daniel Bandy into Keevers, wanted to play on quickly. Inside the centre square, pokes it forward, nicely done. And Keevers backs up again. Inside forward 50, but reading it well was Wakeman. Cut it out for South Australia. Can come this side of the ground to Campbell. Campbell is a left footer, so he goes down the line. Nice kick looking for Gallagher. Armstrong was brave, coming across the front. Knocked it away, Gallagher, good recovery. What does he do? He takes the percentages. That's what you said, Andrew, on the other side of the ground with Woden. He knew the tackle was coming, though, Gallagher, and made the decision. He'll take me over the line.
Yeah, it was a percentage play, just a team play to do. But South Australia pushed numbers back behind the footy and clogging up across half back. So obviously plenty of space in the South Australian forward line.
O'Hara wins it down. Armstrong with strength, but O'Hara gets it. Flings it forward to McKenna. To Kenna. 55 metres out goes looking for Shell. Back with the flight. Adams brought the ball to the ground. Opportunity in there. Snapshot by Clayton. And Jeremy Clayton gets the goal for South Australia and opens up a handy 15-point break beyond the 15-minute mark.
Class players always come to the fore. He really excelled in the first half. Just a clever kick to kick it to the spot. Good contest by Daniel Shell. Just kept his feet there in heavy traffic. Turns it around the corner and finished off with a very important goal. Just opens up that 15-point margin again for South Australia.
Well, this was the problem, conversely, for South Australia in the opening quarter, with Western Australia just able to hold them at that 2 or 3 goal margin for much of the quarter, led by 13 points at quarter time.
Most of the Western Australian goals have actually come in bursts, so we expect them at some stage in this last quarter to maybe kick 2 or 3 goals in a hurry, so South Australia can well not rest on their laurels yet.
Keevers out of the middle. Nice spot up. Found Woden. Woden, the left footer, looks back. Nothing much on offer. Goes in short. Finds Rutherford. Bit of space on 50. Can't go the distance with the kick. But Maguire did well. He got rid of his man and then took a mark. And quick to get the glove off so he can guide this one through for a goal. It wasn't taking that mark in the goal square, so he'll be on the most acute of angles.
Just needs to take his time. We spoke about Evan Hewitt in the third quarter where he really butchered that opportunity. Here's an opportunity. Just got to work his way through it. Run out, hook it around.
And he's a natural left footer using his right foot. Turns it around the corner, happy with the result, and why wouldn't he be? Straight through the middle, as you said, Andrew. Took his time, worked out what he was going to do. Execution was perfect.
Yeah, never at any stage panicked in there. Look, Woden won an important ball. Here's the long kick. It has been a problem all day for Daryl Hart. In the Maguire's been too strong for Luke Powell at fullback. He's a very strong player, as you said, a very hard matchup at full forward.
Not often you see a player do that. They use their non-preferred boot in that situation. Rather than go the banana, he actually kicked with the right foot by opening up the angle. And he's got WA back to within a single-digit margin, 9 points. Backwell gets the quick hand pass away. Thomas kicks out wide, running back with the flight for Song. Leaves it for his teammate Theo Adams, bursting off half-back, tackled and holding the ball. Ball ace, the captain, who's played a very good second half in particular, running him down from behind. Adams is quick, but Ball ace was desperate.
20 kicks and 13 handballs. Scott Ball ace.
Ball ace goes long towards Shell. From behind, knocked down by Kane Hayes, running onto it. Campbell, head passes into the path of Kenner. Will it run ahead of him? It does. Now what's the decision? It's out of bounds. Just went wide of the behind post, a boundary throw-in.
That was clever. He did that on purpose. He didn't want the rush behind. He was happy to get it out of bounds.
Poses a question of deliberate, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yep.
Smart play, deliberate or otherwise, and it was deliberate. Bandy gets to the front, brings it down. South Australia through Ball ace, just slipped at the inopportune moment. Now it's trapped. No, it's out again. And there's a scramble in there, and we'll get a ball up.
With the dew on the ground, players that keep their feet are going to be vitally important. It might just well a slip over somewhere could cost your side a goal.
Very even game, 311 possessions each.
Ian Mogridge right on the numbers. Basong just knocked it away. It's in a dangerous area though, sliding in there. Campbell slips out. Western Australia almost able to clear the area. Now it's Clint Jones, got the hand pass back to Woden, non-preferred, foot outside 50. Jones almost able to take the mark. Clayton, very clever again, Jeremy Clayton. Knew the boundary line was there and that's where he wanted to take it. Slow to get up, just struggling a bit. May have taken a knock to his left leg at some stage.
Sore and sorry, Jeremy Clayton. He kicked their last goal. Boundary throw in. O'Hara in front, wins it down, stealing it away. Adams uses that pace again to burst away from the pack. Gee, ran a long way. No whistle. Kicks up to half foot over the head of Howard. Archie lumbers back with a more fleet of foot. Ames push in the back. Gee, that was a very cheap free kick. Silly play. Archie goes out wide. Marked out there by Whiteman. Runs it towards the outer wing. And a relay kick. Maguire pushed Whiteman after he kicked it. And the ball will be taken up right half forward.
In a game of inches, that costs you 50 metres.
Parry in short, backwall marks, just outside 50. Beros is off the ground. He seems to be holding his right hamstring. Crab on as backwall goes short and has found Campbell. Beros just carrying that right leg a little bit limply. Might just be a touch of cramp. The Sandover medalist a few years back.
And how that after disposal now hurts. You get a shot at goal through an undisciplined act on your own half-forward line.
So Campbell has it behind for his efforts tonight. 39 disposals in his last outing in the sample against North Adelaide, playing for Norwood, so he's been in good form of late. This could be a very telling kick just beyond the 20-minute mark. He crosses 50 with the white boots. He goes low and goes left. Behind, WA breathe a sigh of relief.
Still plenty of time in this game. West Australia don't need to panic. They just need 2 goals in their last 7 minutes, just through constructive football.
They look to bring the ball in quickly though, and it's turned over. Clint Jones was good. Keevers Gave the ball back and they spread it to Parker. Couldn't get his kick away. Good pressure again from South Australia. Campbell around the corner. He'll hope for maybe out of bounds here because Western Australia have the numbers. Keevers was clever. They share the ball wide and get it to centre wing. Pickett knocked away by South Australia down the front. The rover was the ruckman and that just didn't work for O'Hara. So they get it back to Hayes. Western Australia into their forward line. Powell ahead of Maguire. When he can use his pace, Powell is very clever. Did well, got it to his clubmate in McKenzie, and now wide to Thomas. Drops it in short on the centre wing, and Gallagher takes the easiest of marks. Leading up was Fisher, and also player out there just stuck on that name. It might have been Campbell who came forward in the end. But South Australia worked the ball through the middle to Clayton. Clayton to Shell. Well done by Basson, got it away from Shell, who then got Basson away from the ball, sliding in Woden. Now Kenner, taken down, could have been holding the ball, is holding the ball. And Western Australia will get another opportunity.
Well, Basson's a long kicker of the football. This time he goes short. Webb the target. Mark Webb, Subianco captain. Right half back.
It's slow, isn't it, though? They need to move the ball quickly to catch South Australia out on the rebound.
Bandy coming off, knew it going on. Powell paid the mark last in line. Plays on by hand with a busy Jeremy Clayton. Defensive 50. Cross half back, marked by Sheedy. Sheedy told to play on now. Not a lot on offer. Goes out the back door. Thomas comes to a halt. Back towards Powell, backpedaling in the centre square. Powell now has McKenzie out on the broadcast wing. He takes the mark. South Australia already appears content to maintain the ball through possession footy as he goes short to Clayton. Have the Foss Williams medal round his neck later tonight. He goes in towards centre half forward. It was a very well-weighted kick. Taking to Mark Gallagher. Playing all back wall. Put down by Rutherford. That'll be a relay. And it could be a report, I fancy. The book is coming out. Rutherford raised the elbow. And Backwell went down. And umpire Richard Williams putting him in the book. That was, it must be said, unnecessary.
It certainly was. He didn't have his arm tucked in, and it's just so late.
And now Shell, a chance to ice the cake perhaps for his sixth from 45 metres out. He rides it home, and he may well have given South Australia the victory.
There's two undisciplined acts. We saw one that only cost a point just earlier in this quarter, and there's just the last one. Just didn't really need to do it, and Shell, who's been instrumental up forward tonight. Here's the 50, the FAD, Backwell goes down. Shell was certainly in a marking contest. Goes back and drills a nice goal from the pocket. He really filled 3 goals in the last probably 5 or 6 minutes. Given the goals at a premium this last quarter is probably beyond Western Australia.
Clancy Rutherford will have an appointment with the Commission this evening. After the game, he'll meet with the South Australian Commissioner and they'll find him guilty or not guilty, and then it'll be left to Western Australia to make the decision on how many games he'll miss.
I thought you were going to just say they'll find him guilty, and didn't know you were going to go on with the not guilty status.
And send him to the gallows.
Don't need to be that patriotic here.
Oh, they look like they're going to finish it off now, South Australia. It's down to Shell again. They've done all the attacking in the last few minutes. Shell couldn't get his way to the ball. Finally he did. Borlase can finish a good game if he can get the kick away. No. Taken down. Umpire calls for the bounce inside forward 50, about 30 metres from the South Australian goal. A 16-point lead. 25 minutes ticking over in the final quarter. You think South Australia will have this one? Bandy puts the ball into the turf. Harry knocks it forward. Fresh air kick at the ball was made by Parker. Now South Australia through Backwell. They get the ball away to Howard. Shrugs off a tackle. And Backwell again will dive on the ball and could be pinched for holding it. No, umpire will call for another bounce. South Australia will be happy with this. It's in their forward 50 and we're counting down. And time becomes West Australia's enemy now. They need to manufacture something. Out the door goes as you get down the line. They need to take some risk, bring the ball back through the corridor. Time is the enemy for WA as much as their opponent.
Swooping on the ball here is Ball Ace, the captain, and he pulls it left. A minor score, but a lead 17 points, so WA would need 3 goals at the 26-minute mark. Highly unlikely as the kick into play finds Parker.
A good result for Western Australia because they do get the ball back. They're still only a 3-goal margin. They're able to get control of the footy.
We go down to Bandy, who fumbled, and Archie came in and kindly gave the ball straight to him with the tap. Bandy around the corner, only released Whiteman for the chest mark. Whiteman takes his time, goes back. Half volley by Powell. Round he goes to McKenzie, who takes his time. South Australia clearly content to hold the ball. McKenzie across to Howard. Howard plays on. Decides to go deep to centre half forward, but without, I would imagine, much of a look. As Keevers was the only player really in position to take the mark. Drops it in short. Running away Rutherford. Rutherford, I don't think he meant that kick, but nevertheless he got it to Webb inside 50. Maguire leads up, and just a few minutes ago yelling from the bench, Peter German wanted Maguire back in the goal square. Now he gets it off to Crab, and the send over medalist kicks a much needed goal. Who knows? Western Australia could come from nowhere.
I still think we've probably got about 3 minutes to go, so there's still a chance, but good play by Clancy Rutherford. Really made it happen coming out of half-back. Ran and carried the footy and forced South Australia on the back foot. Good sharing by Maguire. Jackson Coe, haven't seen enough of him tonight as a former AFL player and a very good player in the Waffle. Really expected better of him tonight. Centre break important now for Western Australia.
Yep, they need to whip it straight down and get a goal, and then try and do it again. South Australia will try and place a possession footy if they can get it. They do. Newick palms it straight to his opposite number, O'Hara. Backwell taps it along the ground. Opportunity for Woden over the footy. Hand pass too slick. South Australia can't get a clearing kick. Rutherford grabs, slings it out into the path of Armstrong to Keevers. Wrong foots his opponent, Kenner. Steps inside him, then goes up towards Webb. Back with courage. Howard takes the mark. And you see him signal, palm down towards the turf, just saying let's slow it down. He kicks it out wide. Gallagher goes towards Parry on the lead, takes the mark. 70 metres out from goal. Parry wanting movement towards him. He sets it up towards the hot spot. Shell, the big lead. Ball hits the ground, socket away by Ames. Opportunity in there for Hayes, went without it first time, gets it now, hand passes to Ames. Tackled by Campbell, gathering it is Inkster. Goal, game to South Australia. Oh, Talon Ames. Here's the trophy, the Hayden Button Junior Trophy, which will be in the possession of South Australia. They'll retain it because Ames there not fleet-foot enough to get away from a lunging Campbell.
Yes, Tally, you just need to learn how to get the footy to take off with it. You can see he just dawdles off. That's just wonderful forward pressure by Campbell. It's really his goal. But Tim Inkster, he was a player that really worked really hard to get South Australia back in the second quarter, back into the game. Had a really good night as an opportunist forward.
17 kicks, 4 handballs for Tim Inkster.
Tim Inkster. The Eagles will be very happy locally. Woodville West Tigers that Tim Inkster's performed well and got through the night without too much of a problem.
I think our producer's probably pretty happy with taking remarks like that as well.
Here's Archie off half-back for South Australia. Basson got his foot to ball. Virtually a bounce down then. The ball went up high. Here's Basson again. Forward away wide. Met by Archie. Forced off the kick. Backwall advantaged by it. Nicely done. Now Backwall through the centre square. Drives it long. And going back unable to take it was Hayes. And now they break away through Adams. Western Australia go down centre wing. 3-on-1. Howard comes from behind. South Australia with the numbers. Sheedy couldn't break away. And putting his head down was Campbell, and that gives us a chance to go down to Mark Soderstrom with the unfortunately injured James Gowans.
Yes, I'll grab James just before the sign's about to go. James, it's been a good win, but not good for you.
Not good for me, but it was good for the state, for the league. It's been great to get over the Waffle and put up a good effort, and that's been good.
How's that calf?
It's sore at the moment, but it'll be right for next week, hopefully.
No Foss Williams medal for you tonight?
Spewing too, I'm spewing. Only needed that to finish the collection off, but anyway, it's been a good win. Boys have done really well.
Good on you, mate. Let's hope that calf gets better quickly.
Thanks, Otis. Cheers, mate.
They've still got the ball, South Australia at left half forward. They lead by 17 points. We're beyond 31 minutes as the ball is thrown in. Chance in there for Clint Jones. Look away, hand pass to Webb. Webb across the defensive goal mouth towards Jackson Crabb. A lot of movement downfield by WA. A long lead in the end offered by a diving Salisic. Thomas nips in front of him. He went out and so too did the ball. Boundary throw in front of the Chapel stands.
James Gowan's then mentioning the full array of awards. He's got a best and fairest at his club, a 5-time premiership player and a Jack Odie medalist for best on ground in one of those premierships.
Sit in comfort and watch the clock tick down on this game. O'Hara a fresh air shot. Rutherford taken to ground, ball held to it. We'll have a ball up. WA burst from the blocks. They led by 13 points at quarter time, kicked the first 3 of the game. It was down to a 4-point lead at half time and they came home 4 points down at three-quarter time, and South Australia have played by far and away the better last term. Woden along the ground towards Parker. His kick goes laterally towards the boundary line. It beats Webb and we'll have a throw in.
Daryl Hart, that is Daryl Hart looking happy, actually.
It's about as good as it gets from him, doesn't it?
So, ball comes to the back. Parker gets the kick away quickly. Bandy, the ball got past him. He may get it in the end. He does. And 32 must be colourblind. He gave it to a South Australian in Kenner. And now McKenzie, he can chip it wide back or calling for it. On centre wing, happy to take possession and hold it up. He's got another chip on and he goes for Campbell. Campbell has the ball knocked out of bounds. And South Australia, again, have proven the worth of the SANFL. Daryl Hart on his way down. They've retained the Hayden Button Jr. trophy and they have beaten Western Australia by 17 points in the end, but what a contest it was.
It certainly was a great contest all night. West Australia being very brave. They picked a side that they came here with. It was tough. They had some runners, they had some tools, they had a very good mixture, very well prepared. Just weren't quite able to execute for the entire night. And South Australia continued on, and they really were able to turn the game around in the second quarter when they increased their intensity. Their tackling improved markedly in the second quarter. And what became a real arm wrestle in the last quarter, they just were a little bit cleaner at certain times, and they were able to just get over the line, 17-point margin.
Among the best for South Australia, Daniel Shell, and he's down on the ground with Michael Maney.
Well, Daniel, 6 goals out of 14. Good night for you, but more importantly for South Australia, good win over WA.
No, that's the only important thing, mate. To win any state game is fantastic, and WA had a good side, so just a great game, mate.
You started off a little bit slow. The team started off a little bit slow, but then just gained some momentum after a while. What do you put the slow start down to?
Probably not playing footy together and getting used to each other, and once we got the ball rolling, we played some good footy, but it was a good game, and that's what these things are for.
You seem to get some good deliveries through the midfield. Jeremy Clayton was outstanding tonight, and Dean Howard also terrific through that area.
Yeah, played some great footy, mate. I'm just on the end of some good passes, and just lucky enough to get a few tonight.
And you seem to, with your confidences up, you seem to get the ball early and knock a few through. You seems to carry on for the rest of the game. Is that how it went tonight?
Yeah, exactly. It'd be nice if it happened every week like that for me, mate. So I'll keep working at it. But it was nice to kick straight tonight.
Well done, Daniel. Great effort tonight.
Thanks a lot. Cheers, mate.
Daniel Shell, a 2-time Ken Farmer medalist, which is the leading goal kicker in the SANFL competition. Of course, has some connection with WA, having played with Fremantle.
And had some injuries when he was south Fremantle in the WAFL, which stymied his progress at AFL level. But he was very sure overhead tonight, and with a dewy ball, he took some very strong marks and played some pretty sensible footy.
Time now for the presentation of the Hayden Button Junior Cup and also the medals for both sides for their best players. Here's Mark Soderstrom.
Ladies and gentlemen, could we please have a round of applause for the winner of tonight's game, the team from the SANFL. Now I'd like to invite Ian Taylor from the Western Australian Football Commission to present the Simpson Medal for the best player from the WAFL tonight, number 18, Kane Hayes.
He played well tonight, Kane Hayes, deep in defence, and he receives the coveted Simpson Medal for the best player afield for WA.
Thanks a lot. It comes as a bit of a surprise. I was having a bit of a chat and didn't even hear at Darks what happened then. But thanks a lot to South Australia. Their skills were just a little bit too good for us tonight, and maybe we can work on that over next year and play them next time. Thanks.
Congratulations, Kane. Now I'd like to welcome Jenny Williams, the daughter of Foss Williams, to present the Foss Williams Medal to South Australia's best player with 6 goals out of 14. Fantastic effort, Daniel Shell.
Would have been quite a few contenders, I'd imagine, Andrew, including, of course, the captain, Scott Borlase, and also Jeremy Clayton in particular in his first 2 and a bit quarters.
I think clearly the first 3 best South Australians on the ground. They had some other Whiteman played really well, but Daniel Shaw for his 6 goals in an area where we thought they were going to struggle.
Just quickly, thanks to the WA guys. These sort of games, you just want a close contest, and it was a really great game tonight. Well done our boys, great footy, and thanks to all the supporters for coming out. Cheers.
Congratulations, Daniel. The cup that both sides are playing for tonight is named after Hayden Bunton Jr. Hayden was captain coach of Norwood at 19 years of age. He played 22 state games for South Australia and Western Australia. He won the 1962 Sandover Medal. Please welcome Hayden Bunton Jr. And the cup to be presented to the captain of South Australia, Scotty Borlase, and the coach, Darryl Hart.
He's one of the legends of Australian football, Hayden Bunton, coached 5 premierships in the WAFL.
Darryl, congratulations. That was a real good competition. It doesn't always happen with interstate games, but the game was always in the sway for the last quarter, and it was good to see so many people come out to it. And just from what I've been told, these interstate games between these 2 states will just keep going on. Congratulations, Darryl.
If I could just echo the words of Shelley, great game for the West Australians. Well done to our boys as well. Played really well. A hard-fought game. I'm pretty stuffed. And I'd just like to thank West End for our sponsorship, and also to Parkinson Blunden, and also to the coaches and trainers. Thank you very much. Well done, guys.
I'd just like to thank the supporters for coming out. They're just a fantastic group of people that support the SANFL. To the Western Australians, that was a very good game. We're lucky enough to come out on top again, and to like to thank my players who are just a huge effort. So thanks, boys.
Well, as they put it, they're quite tired, and don't know how much of a lap of honour it's going to be for South Australia, but they'll have the obligatory photos and that taken, and I'm sure spectators will enjoy their opportunity to congratulate them. Now, coming up on ABC TV, your match of the day next week in the WAFL, Subiaco, the unbeaten Subiaco, and coached coincidentally by Peter German, playing Swan Districts in the match of the round on ABC TV from 2 o'clock next Saturday. And our match of the round in South Australia will be Central District against Norwood and Elizabeth, and another contest which, for 2 clubs battling to try and get into the top 5, will be very important.
Absolutely. I mean, Norwood are right in the contest, been very good so far this year. Central Districts, after getting well beaten by South Adelaide, need to get a win on the board to push themselves up into that top 5.
Plenty of great football coming up. We've enjoyed a great match here tonight. 17-point victory for South Australia, thanks to Glenn Mitchell for your company.
Great to be here. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
And we look forward to more football on ABC TV. Thanks for your company. We'll see you next week.
To better last term, Woden along the ground towards Parker. His kick goes laterally towards the boundary line. It beats Webb and we'll have a throw in.
Daryl Hart, that is Daryl Hart looking happy, actually.
It's about as good as it gets from him, doesn't it?
So, ball comes to the back. Parker gets the kick away quickly. Bandy, the ball got past him. He may get it in the end. He does. And 32 must be colourblind. He gave it to a South Australian in Kenner, and now McKenzie. He can chip it wide. Backwall calling for it. On centre wing, happy to take possession and hold it up. He's got another chip on, and he goes for Campbell. Campbell has the ball knocked out of bounds. And South Australia, again, have proven the worth of the SANFL. Daryl Hart on his way down. They've retained the Hayden Button Jr. trophy, and they have beaten Western Australia by 17 points in the end, but what a contest it was.
Certainly was a great contest all night. Western Australia being very brave. They picked a side that they came here with. It was tough. They had some runners, they had some tools, they had a very good mixture, very well prepared. Just weren't quite able to execute for the entire night. And South Australia continued on, and they really were able to turn the game around in the second quarter when they increased their intensity. Their tackling improved markedly in the second quarter, and what became a real arm wrestle in the last quarter, they just were a little bit cleaner at certain times, and they were able to just get over the line at 17-point margin.
Among the best for South Australia, Daniel Shell, and he's down on the ground with Michael Maney.
Well, Daniel, 6